Am I feeling late? Oh, hopeless night. Okay, shine the money we your best. Wait, hopeless night. Wait, oh, the money we your best.
तिनक धिन धागे न 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 तिनक धिन.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Maury. Them poor rich kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a flash from the past. We on the smash, yeah. Be prepared to hit the gas, yeah.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah. Sherry no haka from Virginia. Yeah.
I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah.
Yeah, peace to the party. It's your homeboy reporting live. Glad to be alive and appreciate everybody's support. So comments like this, shout out to you, man. She said she watching the older episode with Lee Cummings. Hey, shout out to Lee Cummings because, hey, Mac just told me he hit the line. We're going to get him back, man, because we got some things to talk about. It's a lot going on in the world, man. So appreciate y'all's support. We got to start off Sunday service offering our thanks. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could be many places in the world, but a lot of y'all choose to show up and rock with us. Y'all been spreading the word, helping us grow, and we growing like wildfire now. You know what I'm saying? Really built it from the mud. Some of y'all been with us a while. I think we about, 5-6 years strong, bro. Back when we'll post a video and get 10 views. But you got to be really true to what you're doing and stick it through them rough days because it was rough. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it takes to grow. It just is what it is. So kind of today, we got something real special for y'all, man. You know, we always have been about not just talking about the past, but we also analyze the past to make moves right now in the present and also plan for the future. Because us as historians, we know that if it wasn't for the work that some of our ancestors did, we wouldn't have the breadcrumbs that we have right now to be able to piece this together. So we owe it to them to be able to pass this down. Think about your future self. Think about what you needed when you was young, the guidance, the blueprint, the financial access. You feel me? We got to get past all the juicy gossip and history can be it can be like a soap opera drama sometimes. So it keep you entertained. But when it comes to these things that we need to use structurally to be able to build community and nations, it kind of, it fall on deaf ears sometimes. Now we trying to change that, but it just is what it is. If you understand marketing, you know this to be true, right? But we're trying to put it together to this whole edutainment thing. This is why we started the Autonomous Party as a network meaning that we're trying to reach people on multiple different levels. We just ain't trying to preach to them, no pun intended, how Sunday service is. This is for the real scholars. This is not for the average everyday consumer of history. This, they may not even, first they're gonna think we crazy because they probably never heard a large part of this, but then it may go over their head and they may just tune out. You know what I'm saying? This ain't the base level, you know, and we appreciate y'all for rocking with us so we can have them type of conversations, right? But the goal is to reach the masses, whatever our version of the masses is, because we can't touch everybody, but the mass amount of people that the big God put it on us to be able to touch, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to maximize our potential, right? And it's because of y'all that we can do that. So I hope that y'all stick around toward the end of the show. We got a very exclusive partnership that's in alignment with our brand that we are excited to tell y'all about. But I'm going to go and lay the flow like I do. Get this going. The news is going to be more of, I'm on my professor tip today, the hood professor about to do what I do, right? Hey, peace to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all be active in the chat. Y'all can talk to each other. Y'all can talk to me. Y'all know I got thick skin. I ain't tripping on what you say as long as you're respectful to everybody else in the chat. All right. And then for everybody who watched the replay, we appreciate y'all too. I get it. Everybody can't make it to the live. It's all good. We here to feed that soul and do that work. You know what I'm saying? Peace to y'all though. So hey, look, this one I'm gonna take it today. So you see the title, Trust Law. All right. And why the conscious community cannot afford to. So if you've been around the conscious community a while, you done heard buku scandals with paperwork, right? You done heard the Moors selling this pack. You done heard some of the Indian community selling that pack. You even got white folks. It's a big thing on the white. Let me show you how you could protect your house with a trust. Like, it's a lot of stuff that's been spread out. The whole driver's license thing, everything revolving around paperwork that's supposed to come back to a trust in some form or fashion. So any good lie or good con has to possess some truth to it, right? So when they go and talk about this paperwork and all these things, it's not the fact that a trust, for example, does not work. It's the fact that the way that it was promoted, who it was promoted to, and what was done behind said trust is where the problems come in, right? So that's why you yourself have to have the proper education. You can't just fall for somebody who got the gift of gab and you just trust everything they say and you do not go do your homework. That is not the autonomous way. We do not believe people just because we cool, just because I like your message, none of that. I need to be able to verify what you said, and then we can have a further conversation, but I'm just not going to trust you blindly. So this is what I hope that y'all do today. This is not a legal education class. This is not a financial education class. This is some autonomous people coming together to be able to spread information that you should be able to go and fact check. And if you need help with some of these things, pull back up on us, bro. You feel me? We open to have that conversation as long as we lead with respect, because we're not sitting here to do this to waste our time. You got to trust and know that. So with that being said, for some of y'all who y'all never really even got the understanding of a trust because you think it's only for rich people. You think it's only for business owners or X, Y, and Z. We're gonna take it. You know, I got Louisiana education. I tell y'all this all the time. So I'm going to take it to the very basics, and we're going to make this to where anybody can understand. And the most important part is we're going to connect it to how it makes sense to you today in America and your legacy and your own estate plan. All right. So that's the whole journey we finna walk on today. We also going to hear a little current stuff because Mac hit me. He said, bro, I gotta talk about a few things. So I'm going to lay the groundwork. Mac going to come in. Then we got a special guest coming to introduce this new partnership, all based around trust, right? Can't do business if I don't trust you. We can't establish and protect ourselves without trust. So the hidden history of trust law. So everything that's been done to us in America has either been in furtherance of somebody else's trust, or they have used the basis of what trust stands for in law to be able to create systems within systems that we don't even know exist. And that's really the major downfall of what we got going on in the conscious community, because there's too much hype and motivation, not enough paperwork, the real paperwork to where you can establish yourself on paper, acknowledge your standing in history. I don't give a damn if you say you Pan-African. I don't care if you are Hebrew Israelite. Indian, Black, European, African, it don't matter. You need to understand this because you can be whatever you technically international law say you can be whoever you say you is, but you got to put it on that paperwork, put it on the flow, like my little partner say, and make it real if that's what you say you are. So we're gonna give you a little baseline on how that can happen, right? So what is a trust? It is a legal relationship. All right. So one party holds property for another's benefit. All right. So you got a trustor, you got a trustee, you got a beneficiary, and control is separated from benefit. Okay. Now, the truth of the matter is, a lot of this information, you can go do your own research and go into practice for yourself. You do not have to have help to study these things and know how to do them. But the common human thing to do is we crave community, teachers, mentors, whatever you want to call it, to be able to hold our hand and walk us through it. Just so if that's you, that's not a bad thing. But you still need to have a baseline education so these people don't take advantage of you. So anybody telling you that they don't want to also teach you, they just want to do everything for you, that's not somebody you would want to trust. You feel me? So here we got this relationship being formed that anybody can do. You do not have to be rich. You do not have to have any stipulations in place to be able to create a trust. But this formation has been around for a very, very long time. And the more you study colonization, politics, and religion, you're going to see trust pop up all the time. It pops up everywhere, right? It's for a reason, because it's the importance of it. And now it has been watered down to where the average person don't even talk about trust. If anything in estate planning, they'll talk about a will, but that's pretty much it. And it's a reason for that. All right, so now this is our relationship right now. Very simple, just letting you know who's who created the trust, who is in benefit of, who's supposed to make sure that things that are written in this trust happen the way they're supposed to happen. This is this relationship being set up legally. Okay. All right, so then we move on to why it even exists in the first place. So what is the purpose of this? So it manages assets over time in absence or in incapacity, right? So you transfer wealth. So when you hear these things, this is what makes you think that, oh shit, I ain't got nothing but apartment. I don't need to be worried about no trust. Nah, that's not the full tenet. Now there's more to it. Just having the trust by itself with nothing in it obviously ain't that valuable. But the fact that you know and understand the mindset that it takes to be able to put that together puts you in a position that's in more leverage to somebody else who's also estate planning. Because never get it twisted. Estate planning is competition, bro. This is how you make sure that your family can stick around and be able to, okay, so if you think it's hard to live right now in 2026, what you think it'll be like 100 years from now? You think the rent gonna go back to $300? It's not, bro. So if you don't have a plan for your estate, I bet you they do. I'm just saying. So this is why trust exists, is because land ownership was a European concept. We already know that, right? But that concept is here to stay, and the whole world uses this same concept. So either you're going to learn how to play this game better than others, or you're going to keep getting played. The choice is yours, but you can't say that you wasn't introduced to certain information, not from us. You can tell it to somebody else, but we've been giving you, we've been putting you right there next to the water. It's up to you what you do next. You feel me? So this is the whole purpose of it. So this has been going on since like the Norman invasion over there in Europe. Now that's an important thing. If y'all been following us, this is where surnames come from. The whole purpose of surnames was to attach it to family lineage and tracts of land that they started in Europe. This is how we know this is where surnames come from. So all them folks telling y'all that surnames started in America, that's not to say that no surnames were created other places over time. But the system of using a surname is a European concept because they were tying it to land. Think about it. For those of y'all who may be listening from Europe right now or who have traveled to Europe, you know Europe's small. The actual livable land mass is very small in Europe. So land is of the utmost importance in claiming who owns it or not. Okay, because they hierarchy of living was real. It was a monarchy over there, which is funny because right now you got a bunch of dummies around the world talking about some no kings protests in America, which is crazy. That's a whole nother topic. But these were real kings who laid down this, and people who were like knights, for example. We'll get to that. But this is showing you the whole purpose of the trust is to say that, hey, bam, you had 200 acres over here, boy, in Scotland, and you went to war. You got unalive. What we finna do with your 200 acres? The crown wanted to know this. The church wanted to know this. So they started figuring out a way to be able to account for this, right? Everything is created from some problem that existed before, right? So then we get to what was the first stage, right? They literally called it uses. It's in medieval time. So it was land held for the use of another. It was common during the Crusades. Notice Norman invasion. Okay, so legal title versus beneficial use, meaning I have the use of this land because my partner told me I can hold it while he deployed. He gone overseas. So I got the use of this right now, but he still legally owns this. All right. So hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Y'all in here active, man. Shout out Miss Angela. Peace to you. Peace to you. What God of Green say? He says surnames were created for record keeping, censuses, taxation, and inheritance. Exactly. AKA tracking your estate and the land in which that estate was held. Okay. This is very, very important. These go together. And we're going to get to another concept. So the first stage, they called it uses. And they said these folk was going crazy with the uses. They was using this, no pun intended, to be able to subvert paying taxes to the crown. So the crown ain't like this. The crown was pissed that these folks was using these uses to be able to say, hey, look, man, really such and such own this land. They just was playing back and forth saying, I don't own it, he own it. And they're going back and forth to avoid taxation. So they got rid of this whole first stage. They said, nah, I don't like that. Y'all over here playing, ain't trying to pay the king his taxes. That ain't gonna work. So we got to switch this up. So, she say, I just learned that in your other episode about the surnames. Yeah. So this is why, like I said, our goal is to give y'all a holistic education. And by education, that's not saying that we know every single thing that happened through history. We just have a good grasp because of the amount of man hours put into this, right? And we will update as we learn new information because this journey is for life. You feel me? So back at where we at, this is the first stage. The uses is what they called it, medieval time. Okay. So then the trust became formal. So they got rid of the uses, statute of uses in 1535. So the courts of equity preserved trust. This was the birth of modern trust law. So they said, okay, look, bro, y'all can still have this same idea, but we got to have something that's coming from the court to be able to give y'all this ability because we like it too. Because best believe the government, the rulers of the time was definitely using this to their benefit too, because who will have more land than them, right? So they was playing the game a whole different way, but they knew because at this time, in older times in general, people were more aware of the way that they were being governed. It ain't like now where people is just complete idiots for the most part, regardless of their race. The average American is clueless to what's really happening in the world. And damn near, even in America, let alone the world. Another story. Don't let me go off on no tangent. So they went ahead and adopted trust, 1535. Yeah, I go check all that out later. Okay. So then here's one that a lot of y'all may have heard about. Now we've covered this here. I personally came here, did this, and then with the party, this was the first, and the people from the party know this. The first official build I ever did with the party was the Cesta Cuvée Trust. Okay. I always had an affinity for legal stuff. So I went heavy when it came down to the Cesta Cuvée Trust because I had heard from the Moors and other people about the whole birth certificate, right? The straw man, all of these things. Now, I want to be very careful when I break this down to y'all. This is very heavy stuff. And you're not going to find no website to where you can say www.whatisthetruth.com. And you finna go there and they say, hey, you know what? Yep, birth certificate. your account tied to your name, yeah, it's there. You're not gonna find that, bro. It's not that easy to just string these pieces together like that. That's just not realistic. Y'all gotta stop with the fairy tale. However, comma, there is a lot of how should I say this? There's a lot of evidence out there that proves that there is definitely a system in place revolving around trust law, but it's not easy to just point out the contradictions in the way that they use the law. That's why legalese is a language. It's very tricky how you can point out the flaws in this, but you can go to certain concepts to show you that something exists. This is why I like the Cesta Cuvée. It says this concept is very important. So it came out in the year 1666. You know, they all got the 666 and all that. It's very interesting that this is the year that always stuck out to me. Okay, so it determines control of property if someone disappears. Now I know y'all gonna think, oh boy, my homeboy, he done lost it. He going crazy. He been over there talking to them people. Now he talking reckless. Well, watch this now. Before y'all leave me and act like I'm talking crazy, I'm gonna show y'all how all this stuff came to be in the first place. So we go here. So this is legislation.gov.uk. Now, I know a lot of y'all, I'm going to say it again, legislation.gov.uk. Okay, so it's state government website. So Cesta Cuvée Act of 1666. It's not fake, very, very real. Okay, now it says an act for redress of inconveniences by want of proof of the decease of persons beyond the seas or absenting themselves upon whose lives estates do depend. Okay, so beyond the seas. Have you ever heard of something called maritime law? What's the maritime law or admiralty law? Admiralty law is a specialized body of domestic and international law governing navigation, shipping, commerce, and activities on navigable waters. It covers personal injury, maritime contracts, cargo damage, and environmental protection. Okay, so maritime law, being at sea. I know you didn't heard these things if you've been in the conscious community. And then they specifically had an act for trust that was for those people. Okay, so when they say that you could be lost at sea and be birthed and then have this number assigned to you with a certificate that's controlled by some system, that is not far reaching to say that that's not a possibility when you know that they had trust to be able to govern this type of thing starting in the year 1666. So by the time they got to America, because when this is alleged to have changed was when going into the census, when the categories started becoming more formalized, when we started getting birth certificates, and when we started getting social security numbers. Okay, so all of this is tied to the living person or deceased person having some way to be accounted for in all their possessions and property. So right now, as a 14th Amendment citizen, I'm trying not to get too heavy on y'all. So y'all let me know in the chat if y'all walking with me, if we really on the same page, because I don't want to take this too far, but I want y'all to get the point, because I want you to understand why you need to not only study trust law and understand how it relates to our history, but then want to get something for yourself that you are a part of building. Somebody just didn't do it for you, because you are at a disadvantage if you let everybody do everything for you. We should know that in history. He who writes with the pen is the one who really tell the story. You hear me? So, oh, okay, yeah, they in the chat. They, I like this. She say, I trust you. You hear me? Hey, we on that trust talk today. We talking legalese trust talk. I hope y'all walking with me. He say, Lost at Sea episode. Let's get it. Keep going. You're on point. Appreciate you. He say, the bondage. You dig? Hey, so, okay, so, we talking heavy. So let me keep going. So this right here, like I say, go look this up. You can see that this is a real thing. This is that part. This is not made up. Since the Cuvée is real, it is about being alive or deceased, and it does say how your estate is supposed to be handled because of that. So check this out. You can go to Investopedia, right? Investopedia. So if you know what Investopedia is about, them covering this is interesting and by itself. And you see it's been fact checked by that boy Ryan Eckler. Oh, hold on, my bad. Camera switch. It's been fact checked by that boy Ryan Eckler. So he did a good job. So what is a ceste cuvee? It's a French term that in English translates to he who lives. It means that the duration of a gift, trust, estate, or insurance contract lasts as long as a particular person, such as the giver of the gift or the beneficiary of an estate, lives. All right, so key takeaways. In French, ceste cuvee means he who lives. It is a legal term that can describe the person who is a beneficiary with rights to property in an estate. Ceste cuvee is often used today in life and health insurance policies, where instead of the beneficiary, it refers to the insured. So these words matter, right? Just like slave versus employee. One sounds completely different, but by law, they mean the same thing. Another episode, okay? So understanding ceste cuvee. Ceste cuvee is a legal term that can also be used for an individual who is the beneficiary of a trust. So I want to get to a specific point. I want y'all to go all through that later, but I want you to stand on this right here. So the history. Ceste cuvee is a legal concept, dates to the medieval period, specifically in England. During this age, the owners of farms and other properties could be absent for extended periods of time as they traveled, whether for business or religious purposes. It became important to ensure that family members, business partners, or tenants could use the property without fear of it being expropriated by feudal lords. Okay, so this was a big thing that was going on over there in Europe. They had a lot of beef, they had a lot of wars, so it was very important for them to track their land. Okay, and then obviously whatever happened over there traveled with them to America and this exact same system, because we see they've been doing it for a very long time. All right, so this is where we at with it. So now I want to go back here. So y'all go look into this ceste cuvee, go down that rabbit hole if you haven't before, especially if you didn't understand your lineage prior. You'll look at it different. And we got several videos where we covered things like this. And if you want to go more in depth on this trust law talk, we can definitely do that. Matter of fact, we got Travis, he want to get on this, so we can do a whole series on that. Y'all just let us know. Where was it? Okay, yeah. So the water ceste cuvee matters. Property control tied to legal status. Courts assign control if owner cannot act. And it shows separation of ownership and control. This is the whole purpose. You know how you hit a saying where you own, you're in control of all these things, but you don't technically own it on paper, right? That's the whole concept of business that's still being used to this day. And it's definitely used for colonization too. Because colonization is business, bro. Okay? We can't slack on the principles and the things that matter the most. So what it is not. We're not saying ceste cuvee is a hidden universal trust, because clearly if it's on the internet, it's not hidden. The concept is not hidden. So this is not saying that because because this system exists that we are for sure under it right now. Nobody can prove it, bro. I don't care what I've been following all kind of folks who deep into the legal side of things, and nobody. It's one of them things that you know it to be true in certain aspects, but you cannot prove it. You can't, there's no document where you're just going to find proof of these things in existence. What the purpose of this is to let you know that these type of systems do exist. And if they was this advanced in 1666, what you think they look like now, right? So I'm just saying, so once again, do your homework on this whole concept, this legal doctrine, because everything around us is legalese. So colonial America, so we're finna get it to us. So this trust law, common law, it carried over into the formation of America. So it was all for property use, private family use, especially for people who own land. Now remember, who owned the most land in this country before the Civil War? It wasn't white people. And when you study history, you realize we had melanated people going to courts who had estates planning set up way back then. But they was figuring out ways to subvert all that. Okay. because they knew that, hey, these black Europeans who got over here with the Indians, they can give them the game. They could tell them what a feudal system really is, because the Indians had no idea what was going to come down the pipeline from the Europeans. They had no idea what was going to come. But then some of them Europeans who was freshly over there, majority of who was melanated, they knew what time it was. That's why they was the ones who was trying to properly plan their estate. All right, so y'all follow me now on this. Or you say, the United States government has been operating in trust since 1791. Whose is the question? Hey, we talking heavy now. Yeah, shout out to Miss Sherry. Y'all, hey, y'all in here now, y'all to kick your feet up, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Leave us a comment. Make sure y'all stick around towards, we got a very special presentation coming up. We got Mac who want to kick some to y'all and lay a little gospel off. We got the Gullah Man Squad, and then we got our special guest to expand this exclusive partnership to you. Explain this exclusive partnership to y'all. Very exclusive. All right. But before we get to that, once again, we're finna finish this off real quick. So we in colonial America, we see what's going on. So then Johnson versus McIntosh. Look into this case. Most importantly, understand the time frame. So this is in right before or during when a lot of the main treaties that expanded the westward expansion was happening. And it's no coincidence that this happened. So basically, what this did is, you know, we like to show sources now. So this Justia, okay? So Johnson and Graham Leslie versus McIntosh, 1823. So land transfers from Native Americans to private individuals are void when a tract of land has been acquired through conquest and the property of most people who live there arise from the conquest. The people who have been conquered have a right to live on the land but cannot transfer title to the land. Facts. This action for ejectment was based on a land dispute after Thomas Johnson, a Supreme Court justice, bought land from a Native American in a Piakishaw tribe. His descendants inherited the land after Johnson's death and leased it to individuals who brought the action against William McIntosh. The federal government has given McIntosh a land patent to allegedly the same land, although in reality, it appears that the properties were actually separate. The parties thus brought this litigation in order to obtain a judgment on priority rights to property more generally. All of this is saying one big old thing. Even though you Indians been on this land all this time, you can't sell it to none of our citizens unless it go through us. This is also when you have the 5 civilized tribes start to take over, so they could be in control. They are basically the trustee of these lands. So they are part of, they own people getting taken advantage of by the federal government who really owns the land and has all the say-so. They just can live on it and have the use of it, but they can't do nothing with it. So for the folks out there who ask us and try to make fun of us, well, y'all say y'all Indian, why y'all ain't part of no 5 civilized tribes? Why the hell would we go be a part of something that's semi-autonomous when these people is getting played the same way that we are right now today? And they dealing with people who are operating in trust, right? Telling them and us who's can be Indian and who can't. Whole time they got the land held in trust and they can do whatever they want. Right now, if they want to make everybody on the reservations leave, they could if they wanted. They just know, don't nobody want that land, bro. We just got to keep it a buck because it's not the most profitable land, which is why they wanted to let the reservations be in the places that they are in. These are just facts. It just is what it is. So, hey, it's important for you to have an understanding of trust law. You ain't got to be out here trying to be no legal professional, but you need to have a basic understanding of how this works, right? Because everything around us is rooted within this trust law, within the way that systems operate and govern entities, people, corporate personhoods. All of these words you need to go look up. You need to go get a better understanding because it starts to make the picture a lot clearer when you combine that with your genealogy and the history of an area. You got that triangle offense like Phil Jackson. You hear me? You can attack your research a lot differently when you are more well-versed. You have a sound background in all of the key tenets that move history and control power. So this right here. So this is what I was just saying for this whole trust doctrine and the way that things. So you've heard of the manifest destiny, right? The discovery doctrine. The way that these people is operating and maintaining the power through those principles is when they put it in trust back. So you got your governmental who also operate within religion. They put these things together and steal land from people and put it in trust that they can have forever. And there's not much you can do if you're not playing on the same game, the same level of organization that they are. You cannot beat your so-called enemy if you don't have and understand their system, bro. It's just the truth of how this works. So now we in the corporate trust era right now, because you had your railroads and oil companies and all these big companies that founded and helped grow America. They went crazy with it. And it's fast forwarded all the way to today, to where we are now, to where we are operating in a land full of teams and systems. And us as the so-called Black Americans is the only ones playing solo. We out here playing street ball when everybody else is doing big organized team ball, right? Using these systems and leveraging their estates. You talk about Trump right now. Trump wouldn't be nothing if it wasn't for his daddy and them, bro, who laid down this estate planning for them to be able to grow. But in our community, if you mess around and come from some money, people look at you and look down on you like you weak. We got to fix that mindset. We need more nepotism. We need more women able to pass it on to their daughters and, have a standard for ourselves in this world. Because this our country, bro. We getting pimped out in our own land. Where I'm from, that's not a cool thing to rep. Somebody came to your place and took it over and make you do what they say. And we don't even want to understand how they doing it. But hey, I ain't trying to get too heavy on the soapbox. This is just a base level education. Talking about these trusts. Matt want to come talk. He said he got some things to get out of his chest because we're going to make this all make sense to why we need to be on this right now today. Not tomorrow. You need to be taking a step every day to learn more about the systems and everything around us, because if the big God put it on your heart to be the one to be the historian for your family, it got to be more than just history. You can't be no poor righteous teacher. Anybody telling you that is a sucker, bro. We ain't waiting for what we looking for on the other side. We don't know what's on the other side. No disrespect to whatever you may believe, but I want all y'all to see what God got for you, why you able to see it and smell it and feel it. You feel me? So, hey, I don't know if Mac, you tell me, man, you pop on, you hit me if you want to go. You want to let the Gullah Mass Choir rock out first, or you ready to come and get off before we get to our special guest? You let me know how you want to play it. Hold on. What you say? Let me see. What you want to do, bro?
Give him that Gullah real quick, man.
All right. You want to hit that Gullah, bro?
Give him the Gullah, man.
All right, man. I'm finna go to the Gullah, bro. Hey, so we'll be back. Mac, say, Mac, get ready to go to the pool pit, my boy, and tell him what you got to say. But I'm finna go and let the Gullah Mass Choir rock out real quick, and then we'll be back.
They changed our names, but the truth still lives.
Some say we came from far away. Some say we've always been right here. Two stories at the same doorway, both chasing what our hearts hold dear.
Old maps, new maps, who's to say? We just want the truth that they read.
Two roads, one people,
Still searching for the name they stole.
baby, two roads, one people.
Still walking back to what we know.
Oh, we rise together, no matter which path we chose. No, two roads, one people.
Still coming home.
Still coming home.
Some want unity to heal the pain. Some want records to clear the lies. But either way, we break the chains and lift the story they deny. Lineage, memory, same heartbeat, just different ways to find our feet.
One people.
Still searching for the name they turned our nations into colors, but the truth kept living in our bones. Every step we take uncovers the road that leads us back home. One people still stand.
Yes, Lord. We left this truth in harmony. They feed the world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry with so much life to live. Life to live. Life to live. We stand in the storm, still trusting in love. But when the table's set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Millions were taken that belong to the children. Food meant for their hands never reached the building. A system built the doorway and opened it wide. Gave others all the comfort while we stood outside. The officers in power, yeah, pouring out rain. When not one gentle blessing reached the neighborhoods we made. They keep saying equity, calling it trust. Yet the blessings keep on flowing everywhere but us. In the world with the money that we get. Get our little ones cry. So much life to live. Ooh, life to live. Life to live. We show up faithful, standing strong and just. So when the table stands, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? We carry the burden of taxes and patience. Still we watch our schools fade in desperation. Silence for the fraud when it happens far away. But scared hands eyes on us whenever we stray. Our voices keep lifting each election here. Yet the love and protection never seem to come near. Promises repeated, settling it does. While resources and favor never fall. Lift our hopes, lift our hearts. Got our children. Got that star. No more silence. No more hugs. Share this nation. Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? They feed the world with the money that we get. Let our little ones cry. So
check, man. Who is feeding us? This what I be wanting to know. They trying to get us to be down with everybody else, but they don't never got a plan for us. I'm sorry, bro. I just can't hop on that train. Who is feeding us? That's the question of the day. So Mac, hey, tap in, pull up. Let's get to it. Tell them what you got to say.
First off, Maranatha. You know what I mean? Peace to the party.
Peace.
You know what I'm saying? Oh man, listen. Trust. Who can you trust? Who's feeding us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen. It's your boy Mac. You already know what it is. Gullah Mac. Gullah Mac's quiet. What up? I just gotta give a shout out to everybody. When you just presented. I hope y'all tapped in to what's getting ready to happen, right? Because shout out to the approved guy. Because earlier this year we did have him come on talking about policies and different things tied to trust and how you can move a certain way. So we're putting things together for y'all out there, right? But in the history of it, from the historical part of this conversation, real quick, in the trust, right? 1776, our declaration, the Bill of Rights and all that gets put in play, right? And then technically, United States of America becomes a nation in 1789, like a full laid out everything.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, our first census, we know most people who go back that far in their genealogy and heritage of this being here go to the fact that they can say census was done in 1790.
Correct.
You know what I mean? For those who can, find records easily tied to this nation, right? Now, I got a question. Did United States of America bring slaves to America?
So this is what we talking about the other day. Be very clear about what's being asked here.
Did United States of America bring slaves to America? The answer is no. That's just the answer. Was slavery taking place in the period of what's happening? Yes, even after the fact. With all the talk that's trending right now on social media with the reparations thing with Ghana and everything. You know what I'm saying? No, like I said, no. You heard me? Yeah, for sure. We got even the reparation conversation about dealing with descendancy of slavery. Is it tied to the heritage of you being brought here from the colonial time frame?
That's what they said. Yeah, that's the only way they say it.
Yeah, because it's not going to be saying that United States had you, or are you talking about how the states might have treated you once it formed and became a nation in the land that you predate, as it didn't become a nation until 1789, and your behind was already here prior to 1789. We know that, right? So I just think that when people got to put these things in context, right? Because it's a unique group of people within the trust system of America that they did certain things tied to dealing with the 13th through the 15th Amendment, since we talk about trust. You see what I'm saying? So within that context, I want to pull up some things really quick. I thought about, what I'm saying? It's a very interesting situation, what I'm saying, that people might not understand. So the Declaration of Political Trust is tied to 1776. All right. United States Declaration of Independence. That's what that's tied to. Then it says the government derived their just powers from the consent of the governed. You heard me? So this creates what we call political theory called the public trust relationship, as we were just talking about earlier, that they're doing, right? So obviously the people, who can you trust, are source of authority, it says. The people, right? Then it says government holds delegated power. You're supposed to be protecting the people's power. You know what I'm saying? It says duty. It says must act for the people. Now we know today most people are gonna say our government's not acting on our behalf. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And obviously some of us, because of the 13th through the 15th Amendment, they didn't have no even federal protections, you know what I'm saying, until 1865 in that time frame of Reconstruction. So within the trust and everything, I'm thinking about even today, all the propaganda going around politics and we the people, and who's of the land and who's tied to certain things, and because the term reparations being thrown around. I know y'all heard out there. I know y'all heard about Argentina, the state of Israel, in the United States of America, not, you know, siding with the UN, right?
Mhm.
But we're gonna do that. I got a conversation for y'all next week with that, by the way. But right now, can you show me the first joint though? I want to just dealing with the trust. That was on my mind. I was fresh after you just did that bill, and I want people to put these things in context, because when they say certain things, I don't think they put it in context, because it's like, even when people are saying, you know, they wanted reparations from the United States of America, I think we got to be more specific about the harm that's being done to the people who are reclassified and went through what we call the 13th through the 15th Amendment here in America, because of how they were not treated as just as they should have been. You hear me? But yeah, Great Migration though, because last week we obviously were talking about the mounds, who built them, and the week before that we were talking about the borderland, right? So obviously around the time frame of after, we would say 1865, we know that a lot of our people did a great migration within the nation we call United States of America. See what I'm saying? And they spread from, look where the regions they're showing in that map. Can you make that map bigger? I really want to show
it.
Because it's showing.
Ain't worth a damn. There we go.
Sure. But I just really I like the map, really, just to show, because we were showing last week the same region area. See what I'm saying? So a lot of our people seem to be having, if you say you were here prior to, you know, United States being formed, and your people went through some type of servitude or colonial situations in these areas, right? Funny, look, you see where most of the people coming from.
And these were all the lands that was put in trust by the government when they, the 5 civilized tribes is where, Mac?
Oh, well, in these areas right here.
Okay, and this was the same land that the government put in trust, and we had no benefit of. This is why we was getting treated the way we was getting treated once this went into effect. So they keep telling us that the worst things happened prior to the Civil War. Right. But from the research, all the bad things that really happened after that shit. When it comes to physicality and laws and things of that sort. Whole time we was down here chilling till they put this land in trust, say we couldn't do nothing with it, and they decided who was going to be the owners. None of this other stuff mattered. None of this land right here.
Right. The government's the trustee of it after that. Yeah. The government becomes the trustee
and then of the most profitable land in America at the time.
Right, settlers of it. Right, they the ones that settled and signed the treaty stating that they are consolidating this land, millions of acres of land, into this trust and treaty.
The best land. You know
what I'm saying? Oh, hey man, I mean, it's the resemblance of trust though within the system that we're talking about, and how land and how people even migrated from certain areas and went other places. I think most of people in America that say their people were from America in the foundational sense of being here again prior to the United States being formed as a nation, would say they got family that came out of these regions. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wanted to point that out. Now, outside of that, you can go to the second one, because I know we have a guest tonight. I ain't gonna hold y'all for the whole bill tonight. I'm gonna keep it light on that level.
Okay, I got
also, while you're doing that, fiduciary type duties. Funny enough, public officials must uphold the Constitution. I don't know if everybody's doing that today. Act in the public interest. We don't see that happening within the trust of the United States of America.
Hell no.
Avoid abuse of power. We don't see that happening either. Like, you know, we do see that happen. I'm tripping. Other way around.
Yeah. Right? They trying to give us the smoke screen, like I was just telling about that whole no king. They trying to divert us to, man, if people should be protesting, we should be protesting about them people who were playing with TSA money because they ain't want to get ICE funding. I don't give a damn which side you on. If you want to protest, you go get on them people's ass for some shit like that. Cause that is not, they ain't handling up. They could do shit.
Did he freeze or just me?
It's me. You can hear me now?
Okay, yeah. You good now? You froze for a second.
Yeah, they hit me. Cause y'all talking about them people, but they hit me real quick. Yeah, but do you get the gist of what I'm saying? I'm back though. Hold on, I'm back though.
Yeah, but yeah.
Second video, you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. You can go ahead. You can give me a second. I want to just point some things out. See y'all in the chat. Let me know what y'all think about these things. And who can you trust?
Representative Jayabal, Democrat, is saying that if they win the mid-election, they need to give
It froze. It froze.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Maybe
the video froze? Oh, hold on. Give me a second. It's that bullshit ass website. Let me close that other website. That shit got 7 million ads on it, bro.
Oh yeah, it's slowing it down and definitely it's lagging. You know what I'm about.
I'm about to start from the beginning. Tell you how I sound now.
This Representative Jayabal, Democrat, is saying that if they win the mid-election, they need to give reparations to the children and families traumatized by ICE.
Need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of reparation for the kids and the families that have been traumatized through all of this.
Not the Black Americans that have been traumatized for over the last 450, 500 years in this country, or the ones that have been holding down the Democratic Party. No. When I tell you as Black Americans, you better stop taking your eyes off the prize, because you continue to make Democrats and everyone else out here think that we good. Black Americans is good, y'all. We need to focus on a whole new group of people here that have not even bought into this, paid into the system like we have. This is so disrespectful. Number one, who's going to pay for them reparations? Because it damn sure wouldn't be Black Americans paying reparations to people who came here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years after us and ain't been a slave nowhere up in here. Nowhere. We're the ones that was picking cotton for free. We're the ones that built this country for 400 years for free. We are the women that were being legally raped in this country for centuries. No one else. How damn disrespectful of you to even talk about reparations for anyone other than us. This is what I'm saying about Black folks. We got to stop. We are letting people disrespect our ancestors. For this lady to even open up her mouth talking about reparations for anybody else in this damn country, she must be crazy. Where's Roland Martin? Where's Joyanne Reed? Where's Tamika Mallory? Where all y'all at? Y'all was so mad at Nicki Minaj, but you ain't got nothing to say about this woman saying immigrants deserve reparations before us. That's why I say it's fake outrage. Everyone should be mad as hell about this right here. I wish y'all would. You would never get another damn vote from me ever again. Have a good day.
That's why I see stuff like that we seeing out there. I just thought that was a good. She was vented, right? So I'm like, let a woman say it. You know what I mean? You know, when we say things, it goes like, "Oh, y'all were just mad." You know what I mean? Angry Black man. But she seemed angry too. But she has a reason. You know what I mean?
She had a valid point.
I mean, come on, honestly and truly, with all the debates and stuff, I'll be hearing people talking about with this. It's very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, it's one thing. Like I heard you say earlier. In the Pan-African, you're Pan-African, you're Hebrew Israelite, you say you're American Indian, you can say you're Moorish American, right? You know what I'm saying? All the different groups of people that have heritage tied to North America, that have ties to being here prior to 1776, right? And then the things that we know from 1776 to what we've been going through within this nation on this landmass, which would be 1776, if we 1789 even, give or take, right? You're saying about we in 2025, 26 right now. So how many years is that? From 1776, that's about 200 and round about 50 years, you can say, give or take. You know
a whole lot of time.
250 years easy or something like that. You know what I mean? We can say like that. So in the case of what we're talking about, I mean, really, we could say 300 years because it's 1776, 300 years. We're in 2026. So technically, you know what I mean? Only a certain group of people, 300 years worth of time, been going through certain things, right? We know that. And ancestry. Funny enough, that's a long time when you think about it. 300 years, right? And then
generations.
You telling me that the Democratic Party, right? You guys are talking about immigrants getting reparations for what they gone through in the last, 5 years or so?
It's crazy.
And you got these other people now running around in state of California, all these different reparation groups going to the state level and everything, trying to get it to the federal, whatever the case might be. And you gonna just bypass these same people that voted for y'all to talk about immigrants? I ain't got no problem with immigrants. It's just the fact that how you just bypass the issue of you.
It's a hierarchy in life, bro. Hey, look, if we go to their country, our issues don't go before theirs.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand how, even if we're just going to keep it honest about the situation, like how anybody that would, I don't give a damn your ideology. This should be common sense that, you know, good and well, you outraged about United States of America not being tied to reparations from Ghana. And it's like, wait a second. The United States take anybody from out of Ghana and bring them here?
No.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the United States, again, only has a certain amount of time frame of being around. So it can't take responsibility for bringing people that it did not bring. Now, it can say certain things about the people that was on the landmass that they made subjects or disenfranchised in a certain way, moved them off their land a certain way. Those are different conditions we're talking about that's only for a certain group of people. It don't matter if people from out of Africa, that they're Indians or white Europeans even. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? If these things were harms that are done by this nation's government, right? Yep. People that are supposed to hold their people, we the people type thing. Not any and everybody is supposed to be tied to that. And that's just like the lady said. So right now, I think people are feeling a bit entitlement, you know what I'm saying? And it's getting put out of context because, you know, I'm going to say it straight up. I think a lot of these people are anti-American, you know what I mean, about the people who've been here. I don't think they care about you at all. Who can you trust? You put them in office, though. You know what I'm saying?
And they showing you who they looking out for. It's clear. If you take your feelings out of it,
you know what I mean? For we the people within the status of being citizens of this nation. So I think that's out of context. But you know, there's a man by the name of Dr. Clyde Anderson. Right? You know what I mean? I think that's my last clip for bringing our guest on.
Yep.
I'm gonna play just a little bit of what he was talking about because of the context of what we're talking about and who do we trust? Because he talked about that on an understanding of status of the position of when you understand the ethnogenesis in order to ethno-aggregate within a trust type manner for the ethnic group of people that you want done for that group of people in those communities, then you would think that you have to listen to what the man got to say.
And that's a good time to plug his book. One of the best books I ever read was that Powernomics. So go check it out. He's laying down these principles. But I'll play the video.
Tap in.
The people that do not have a conscientious effort to draft a program about where we're going to go and what every black must do to get us there, and how we must regulate and deal with those individuals who violate.
I've got to tell you, Dr. Anderson, so much of what you're saying sounds great on the surface and certainly would sound good to black people. However, when you talk about being pro your people, it sounds like so much of the rhetoric that we're hearing bandied about by the white supremacist groups today. I am not necessarily going to knock you, they may say, but I am just for my people because we are an endangered species. I heard one such group say recently. Sounds remarkably similar.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And that's because we're moving into an increasingly pluralistic and competitive society. And there's nothing wrong with them being for their people. And I commend them for being for their people. But we're going to be for ours. And it reminds me of a fellow yesterday on a call-in show. Call-in said, Dr. Anderson, he says, why can't you black folk put racism behind you? I said, for a very simple reason, because we didn't put racism in front of us. You put it in front of them as a white. And and you have the power to put it in, you have the power to take it out. Black folk cannot be racist. We don't have, racism implies a sense of power.
Hold on, Monte, right there.
And to be able to influence and control and manipulate people. I don't know of any blacks that got that kind of power.
I want everybody to try to catch that. You heard what he said, black people can't be racist? Is he talking about a specific group of people in America because of their position in America, or is he talking about black people overall?
He's talking about basically having the power to, you know.
You can put somebody else in a position of servitude.
Yeah.
But so when you hear people say racist today, are they talking about that position, or are they talking about it from the standpoint that because of the race theory, you say you don't like, I don't like.
They talk about being prejudiced.
Prejudice, right? I think a lot of people are prejudiced today.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He just broke down off of what racism and racist tied to. I think a lot of people are taking that out of context. You know what I'm saying? Because they're giving people a power that they don't have over you. Really, some of these people is spooky. They don't really have. But then the government, though, see, the trust, who you trust, right? Who can you trust? Are they being racist towards you? Are they not looking out for your best interest based on what's going on in this country at this point? Are they treating your ethnic group as a certain situation based off everything that's happening at this point? How would y'all in the chat give me a little feedback on that? Go ahead, though, play a little bit more. I want to stop it on that. I want to ask everybody a question to see what y'all felt. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So so we cannot deal with racism unless we deal with it as a group. It goes from group to group. And hopefully one day we will get enough power that we can begin to use our influences to better our own people. And that's what I'm talking about in the book.
Chapter 8, Becoming Politically and Economically Competitive in America. Black America is approaching the threshold of the 21st century as a non-competitive socio-economic disaster. It is ill-prepared to compete with other racial and ethnic groups. Contrary to popular belief, blacks have made only relatively slight political and economic progress. Their quality of life has improved only because the general conditions of white society improved. Now that means I want to check that, and I went back to 1836, Daryl, to take a look at the conditions of black folk in 1836. I found out in proportional and relative terms, black folk were back about the same space where they are now. I found out in that particular time, in 1836, about 45 to 52% of all the prisoners in the United States were blacks, even though only 2% of the blacks were free. Only 2% of the blacks were free at that time, but yet the prisoners in the United States were consisted primarily of blacks, 45 to 52%. I went and looked at the welfare rolls. I found out that looking at where blacks were congregated, like around Cincinnati and Boston and New York and places like the large metropolitan cities up north, I looked at that. I found in 1 year around Cincinnati where they had given out 3,200 assistance through welfare. They identified 3,200 families. And out of that, only 19 were blacks. Now, 3,200 white groups got welfare assistance. 19 blacks that got any kind of assistance was only for burial expenses. They didn't even qualify for welfare in those days. And you got the same kind of a movement in this country right now and in this state. And which says at best you're going to get maybe welfare assistance. And blacks were so impoverished, they were denied not only job opportunities by a variety of state laws, but they also denied welfare, and they became so impoverished, so sick, so ill-fed that a major portion of that 2% of blacks that were free wound up going back to the plantation and begging the white masters to take them back into slavery because they could not take care of themselves and their families. And what the whites
to the plantation for work. It's like when he says slave 2%, right? It's like 2% are tied to those plantations that can't survive on their own at this point. They're living off of the plantation lifestyle, from colonial to plantation lifestyle that are in these states prior to, federal recognition of them being 14th Amendment citizens. They're tied to these states. You see what I'm saying? In the jurisdictions of what we call every state has a constitution, which means every state has a trust system, the same way we just broke down today. It's tied to this public ideal of how you deal with the people. So, I think Dr. Claude Anderson makes very great points about the status of, if you think about what he's saying, and lady just got through complaining about, right? She just got through complaining about immigration and how the politics people were talking about immigration and helping these people, but then you gonna bypass us, right? Isn't that what he just was breaking down?
Yeah, so I think
breaking that down?
When it come to Claude Anderson, I think a lot of times what people do is, if they don't 100% agree with your message, they'll throw out the stuff that they do agree with too. So for example, obviously certain things I challenge when he start talking about historical things, but when it comes to policy and
policies,
and the way you grow, he know what the hell he talking about. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's the part that you need to take from him now, how we can nation build, whatever you want to call it. He certainly knows how that works. And his whole thing is, if we don't build together internally, we will be replaced by others.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the message you got, because you see through the smoke and mirrors of somebody might get triggered by, like you said, he said 2% of the population, right? So you might be like, oh, after that, you're like, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to listen to nothing else.
That's just his understanding. He's not a historian. Listen, that's what he do.
Carter G. Woodson, I guess, are we going to say that those families that had land going into 1830, right? The Carter G. Woodson book is covering the same time period. He just got to mention in 1836. Yep. You see what I'm saying? So we know there was free heads of families, and there was a lot of them names in that we covered.
And the plantation life was booming at this. Why would you leave? That's the equivalent of you leaving the Walmarts of the day to go out there and try to fend for yourself and figure it out. It ain't just that easy that just because you own land, you know how to cultivate that land and have the end buyers to be able to make this roll. It's the same equivalent today. If running a business was so simple, if running a successful business was so simple and easy, we would have way more of them. I'm just saying.
Right. Hey, and so in the trust standpoint of what we talking about, I guess it's all about us understanding the Constitution and our trust relationship we have with our politicians, we call it today, the ones that took oaths and have a duty to uphold the things of we the people. And I think maybe at this point we put people, or as they would say we did, put people in place to govern these things on our behalf who are not looking out for our best interests, which means politically, we the people are supposed to do what autonomously we're supposed to do by getting the people in position that we know would do what's best for us. And we haven't been doing a good job with that because I think we've lost trust within our own internal problems right now. We have so much internal problems that we don't even trust each other. See what I'm saying? Autonomously at all to govern ourselves in the way that we want to is when we talk about nation building or even community building. You see what I'm saying? And yesterday, by the way, as you know, when you came down here, Monte, I was just in Liberty City yesterday and their community building. You know what I'm saying? And Broadway did a whole blocked off 12, 13 blocks and police and everything is involved, blocking off the blocks in their community. And they did their thing. And let the people of the community come out and enjoy themselves in honor of what is being built in that community. You see what I'm saying?
It look good too.
And autonomous is we can get in certain cases. You see what I'm saying? But you got to start somewhere. You can't act like you're going to start at the top. You're barely paying rent, but you want to get too much. You know what I'm saying? So like you said earlier, when it comes to trust too within your own self and your own family structure, it's not about, oh, you got to have 40 acres and a mule to have a trust. You heard me? You have an insurance policy. As shout out to the approved guy. Simple start off. You got children, stuff like that. Simple things you want to preserve and hold and govern autonomously. And I think even in this day and time, powernomically, that the trust is one of the best foundations for us to understand how to really learn how to move autonomously within our family households, within this nation. And we definitely are behind the 8 ball on it. And that's how generational wealth is being passed down as well. You know what I'm saying? As the approved guy did say, shout out to Sab. And he talked about the Rockefeller family and how they set up their trust family structure. You know what I'm saying? We should be doing the same. Like you don't gotta like that. They did it to you. Now they the ones rich. You should think about it like, okay, hey, I gotta learn how they did that and do it for me.
And I'm gonna do the same thing.
It's autonomous.
And care enough about your lineage to where, damn, this may not help me, but it'll help my offspring. Because a lot of people don't care enough, bro. You feel me? Too selfish.
And we have for so long, by the way, y'all, we have for so long been dealing with trusting people that we know have foreign ideals to America. And we haven't addressed a lot of those things. See what I'm saying? People that signed to the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, people that like to go by the term freedmen, because I can't front, my ancestor had to go through it. We were here. You know what I mean? We brought through that status term at that time frame. We predate the term. You know what I mean? Gullah, Esther Lusty, Yerby, all these different terms that our people were calling ourselves in the indigenous ways in America, maroon times. Oh, we predate all those words like freedmen in that manner of America. But status-wise, within the trust of what we were supposed to get protected after being freed through this proclamation did not actually take place the way it's supposed to. And at this point, and you still trusting these people. You see what I'm saying? And Nick Cannon getting heat. Nick Cannon getting heat for saying that the Democratic Party is tied to the KKK. And people are like, no,
and it's not. A historical fact.
It's a historical fact that the Democratic Party, the ones that didn't want to see us get what we got dealing with the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment. See what I'm saying? What is he talking about here? Now, of course, later on in the civil rights era, people switched, and there's racists on the Republican side. Who said it wasn't? We're talking about politics. See, you can.
They on both sides.
Yeah, racism, like you say, racism is on within the structure of America.
Correct.
If you look like us,
it's how it was built.
I don't give a damn what side you talk about, really. You know what I'm saying? You gonna say, oh, he's red, so he's racist. No, he blue, he's not red. No, that's not how that works.
Boy, that'd be so funny to me. It's like, okay, you telling me that so you saying that only the rapists, they only go be Republican. I say, boy, for you to believe that, bro, it's like, come on, bro.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
You can't be, a white person can't be liberal and racist at the same time.
Bro, matter of fact, I thought that was you.
What are we doing here? I don't get it.
Hey, I thought that was you, but maybe it wasn't. But somebody was at the No Kings protest, and they asked him they asked the white lady what a black people at, and she was like, I don't know, they probably can't afford to come out here because they can't afford to get arrested. You know what I'm saying? So these folks are the ones that No King. They Democrats, but this is how they talking, and this is how they feel. It's like a Democrat in Portland relate to your ass in motherfucking Louisiana. Well, come on.
Not one bit, and don't care about none of your issues either. You feel me? From their liberal ways of living, don't mean they don't still want to be in a political seat and keep you underneath them and servicing them, and not the other way around. So at the end of the day,
who can you trust?
Who can you trust? Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know. Our guest's ready, or whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm not gonna so I'm gonna go ahead and bring up. So this whole rollout, y'all, just so y'all understand where we going with this, and I want her to be able to come tell her story, so she know there's no cap in our rap on how this came to be. We want to explain the way that this presented itself, so that you understand that although this is business, this is not a business pitch. This is something that we organically talk about and believe in, and we want to be able to help y'all be autonomous, right? And also do business at the same time. So a company, we ended up partnering with the company because of our special guest today, Diana. She's going to come up here and, we're going to have a good conversation, and she's going to give y'all some education. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole purpose of us today. We've broken down the trust. So now let's go get into this conversation and do the breakdown. So now, Diana, go ahead and get ready. I know I'm getting better at this. I guess don't be knowing that I'm going to put them on camera. So there you go. I just pop, come on. So, I'm about to bring you up now. Peace,
Hi, guys.
Peace. How you doing?
To the party.
How you doing?
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
I'm doing well. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. For real. Like, originally how we found out and how we get to know you. We're going to let you tell it, but I'm grateful for people like you, how we met in the way it's impacted what you've been able to share with us, that it's impacted on your side of meeting you guys, dealing with what we're doing. And let us know what we're doing. You're doing something right if we're reaching y'all like this.
Yeah.
And y'all doing what y'all. So I'm gonna let you tell it, but you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to tell you that off top.
So let me lay the stage real quick before you take over. So this is what happened, and you tell me if I'm lying or not. So this is what happened, y'all. One day, I'm searching our email. We always say to email us, and it's supposed to be my main responsibility to check this, but I be slipping. Like, I don't check it every day. But I seen this message, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So I read it, and it touched my heart. I took a screenshot. I shared it to the rest of the party. Like, damn, this is real support. Like, she was basically saying that I've been supporting y'all, like what y'all do. Something told her she should reach out and introduce herself and what she could do to help with everybody else. And she attached a video, but I couldn't see it. But the video was basically saying that a church that she knew, her people knew, they were singing the Gullah Man's Choir. So that was crazy, but I couldn't see the video. So later on, we connected. She sent it to me, and I was like, man, just like what Max said, it really blew all of us away. Just so I want to give you your flowers live, because you don't know what that meant to us, for you to reach out and personally let us know that, hey, I appreciate what y'all do. This has affected me in this way, and you just wanted to let us know. But because of that, we found out that, hey, you offer a very valuable service. So we're going to get to that in a second. But first, start off with about that conversation we had, and then we'll kind of got a few questions for you before you get into your spiel.
Yes, of course. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. Like, this is, I am a huge fan. I'm a part of the party as much as I can be. I'm trying to integrate myself even more, however I can help and be of assistance with anything that you guys have going on that I have a little bit of expertise in. And that's why I reached out. I don't like to be in the spotlight a lot. But this is something that has been put on my heart because of my background, how I grew up. I was adopted and I was raised by an older couple. I was adopted at 3 days old, actually. And I was adopted by my grandparents' best friend. So, red flag number one, they were amazing. Taking in a little baby, especially my dad being like 58 years old by the time I was born. And they decided to take me on. My mom was battling drug addiction for most of my life. And I'll fast forward, that has really resolved itself. My mom is doing amazing. We have a really, really great, she's like one of my best friends now. So we don't have any issues there. But, it was a rough start in the beginning. I was, like I said, I was adopted. I had older parents. My adopted dad passed away when I was 17, but unfortunately that wasn't my first go round with a major death. My adopted mom passed away when I was 6. So that was like my first major world, it turned my world upside down, and it really started to make me see reality and what was really happening and going on around me. And so this is not just a business for me. This is not something that I just do to make money, but this is something that I feel as though, if someone would have come along and spoken to my family and really had this information to give and disseminate and explain to us how this could help us, I feel as though we would all be in a much better situation. And so it burdens me to have this information and not share it with people. I've done my best to implement it in my own life, implement it in and tell my family and my friends about it and have them implement it in theirs. But you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, And so, all I can do is give the information, but I want to highlight really why estate planning is very, very important and how it can really, save a family at the end of the day. That's really what I do this for.
Hey, and when you told me your story, I literally said, "Oh, you was meant to do this because like you was your whole life situations, loss, dealing with, not having an estate set up for you, not having a plan for you. Period. You just had to figure it out." And honestly, it's a lot of people, even if they was raised by their family who are in the exact same situation, but you've been able to be that voice because you're gonna be more passionate about it than the average person. So I got a question for you. Oh, go ahead, Matt. What you got?
I mean, I think it is very inspiring to know that you went through everything you went through, and then you still obviously are at that point to where you look what you're doing now to help other people establish their estate. You know what I'm saying? And our estate on a national level is definitely not in the right place, I would feel, within America's scope of it. And our families definitely on a micro level show that same impact of it not being right there. So it's trickling down. We need as much, obviously, I think, help and information being put out for people to understand. And I think the fact that you walked it out based off your background, again, was highly inspiring. So I have to, just in the case of this, the person that adopted you, is that the person that had the church and the gospel?
No, so that is my godfather, actually.
Okay, all right.
That's, happened a little bit later on in life. After, unfortunately, I'll get to that point in the story a little later, but I was taken by Child Protective Services from my father as he got a little bit older later on. And and I ended up with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. So she was there to help and support and be there for me. And, that really got me back into church. And so the church that they were attending, I ended up they made me their goddaughter and kind of took me under their wing when I was about 11, 12. I was really going through a lot at the time. I wasn't wilding out, but, I was really checked out from the things that I should have been doing. I wasn't really getting in a whole bunch of trouble, but I wasn't on that path that my family had really set me on. And I didn't, I had a lot of uncertainty, of what was going to happen next. And so I really wasn't willing to get close to people and things like that. They saw that and they really took a liking to me and kind of just really took me under their wing, brought me closer to church. That probably saved me in those days. And I was sharing with you, I'm not super religious person. But that is my background. That is my foundation. Actually, my adopted mom was a pastor herself. Yeah, she passed away when I was 6, so I didn't get to see her preach all that much, but it was always around the house. My adopted dad was a deacon. So, and he was born.
It's in your fabric. I mean,
yeah, it really
your
is,
car's laid out, however the case might be, for that to be, laid out, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And
so how did you get them to? How did they catch on to the song? Cause I was wondering, like,
how did they? So my goddad, they love amazing music. That always brings people together. And your message, you guys' message is beyond this world. Like the way that you put the presentations together and really break it down so that people can understand how we've gotten to the position that we are in today is just like, it's amazing. And the least we can do is share it. You guys take the time and the attention. I know you can't do this in an hour. You can't do this, a few minutes here and there. You're taking moments, hours, days, sometimes away from your family, away from your businesses, and sharing that information with us, which is so important. I think it's very, we need to do a better job at not only sharing the information that you guys are taking the time to put out, but making sure that we're not only learning it and regurgitating it, but actually taking action to put it into place, because that's what's going to make our community better. So shout out to y'all big time.
Hey, hold on. We got it.
Appreciate you saying that's real though.
Yeah. And also your spouses too, because you're taking time away from your spouses, you're taking time away from your kids. So a special shout out to them. I know it's going to make them better in the end, but you guys give so much love and attention to us, and I think the least we can do is share the information. So there were some good messages, some good music. I started by just sharing the music, getting him interested in the music, and then sharing the messages and kind of telling him a little bit about you guys, and that was the end result. They really gravitated to, after I sent about 2 or 3 songs over a couple of weeks, I listened in every week. And so I was sending him every Monday, on the playback, I would send him one of the new songs that came out. I'm like, Dad, listen to this. And he's like, oh, he's like jamming over there. And so one day, he's like, I want to use this for our Black History Month. And I'm like, oh, really? I was like, that's pretty cool. And they, of course, invited me to their service, and so I just went and I recorded it, and I thought that was pretty awesome way to shout you guys out.
Church?
Yeah, what's the name?
It's Cornerstone Fellowship Baptist Church in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm in Delaware.
Wilmington, Delaware, and that's the Black area of Delaware, right? Is the same?
Yes.
Hey, Dr. Umar supposed to be out there, right?
I think he is probably people from that area.
So yeah,
isn't it Wilmington?
Actually, yeah. So when my grandmother took me and my little sister in, so I have a little sister is 5 years younger than me. So and I was around 11 or so. She took me and my little sister in, and we lived on 22nd and Pine Street, which is not the best block. And it's right dead smack in the hood of Wilmington, but his school is actually a block and a half from where I grew up there. So, that's I have a story.
We're going to have to talk about that. We're going to have to talk more.
Story for you
may help us. We may have to do an exclusive interview on,
that's hot, though. Shout out to y'all out there in Wilmington, Delaware. And shout out to the church. Say the church one more time.
Yeah, what's the church?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So that's Cornerstone Fellowship Baptist Church. It's on Lee Boulevard in Wilmington. If anyone is interested, an amazing congregation. Full of love and inspiration. So
and got to be accepting.
Very accepting, very open, very loving. Every time I go there, even though I only visit, once every couple of years or so, but when I go there, it's just like family. It's like I've been there for forever. So I get the hugs, I get the, oh, I haven't seen you in forever.
How your mama?
So they know my family very, very well, and so it's always like coming home when I go there.
That's what's up.
So, I know it's your time to shine as far as what you've been doing, though, as far as how, we want the people to get your information as well of what we're getting ready to do with you and what you got to help other people through what we're going to try to get it out there and what you do. Yep. So, Monte, you was trying to say something before I asked that other question. I just had to make sure I give you this. I had to get that story full.
No, that was great. That was great, bro.
Because of how we met you, you know what I'm saying, and what you did. And I was just very curious after that. Like,
that blew our mind.
You know what I'm saying? So I gotta ask this lady this question, Diana. Like, how did this happen? So shout out to everybody involved on your side that took part. And if you're here tonight listening, anybody from that area, shout out to y'all. And anybody else.
You guys are clearly making a big impact. You know, you guys are clearly making a big impact.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that's good to hear.
I'm surprised by that one, so I'm gonna be humble.
Yeah, we're gonna appreciate and take that for sure.
So
hey,
presentation. Go ahead. What you would say?
Yeah, so we can walk right into it. So however you want to lay it out, you know what I'm saying? We can. So I had one last question for you that's gonna lead you right into it. I'm always curious about this. What led you to what they call consciousness? Like, when did you start? What led you to go down this path?
I kind of have always been on this path. I've never been someone to just take the word and kind of just like believe it. I always got to do some additional research. I always got to go and read it for myself at the very least. And I want to say, I think it started with religion. I was in a household that had, a lot of religion. Everyone I knew went to church. We would be in church pretty much all week, choir practice during the week. Bible study on Sunday. We're there, 2-3 services sometimes. My grandparents, along with my adopted parents, they had a traveling group for over, I would say, probably 50 plus years or so. And so they would go from church to church singing, and we would have rehearsals on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and then church on Sunday, 2-3 services in different locations and stuff. So they were they came up from my adopted dad and my grandfather on my maternal side, where my grandmother remarried, so I call him my papa. But they came up from Louisiana. My adopted dad was born in 1932. So way back in the day, they, had families down there, ended up coming up here, getting remarried, having families up here. So I come from a huge family. I have family everywhere. But it's, like I said, I met them, or they took me in when they were already, older, 58. My dad was when I was born in 1990. So, so it was just a matter of, time was winding down for them. My dad did not have a formal education. If I'm not mistaken, I think he stopped he stopped going to school around 4th or 6th grade or something like that. So he wasn't strong in writing. He wasn't strong in reading. But he was able to come up here and create a new life for himself, create
he was strong in survival.
Yeah, absolutely. These men definitely knew how to survive, and they knew how to thrive in whatever environments they were in. They came up here for better lives. They made those made the life that they would like a reality, and we're here because of it. So I really honor them. I know it wasn't easy for them to do any of the things that they did, but they made a huge impact on our lives. Like, it's not easy taking in someone else's child. Like I said, I was not even related to them. They were best friends with my grandparents, and so just from knowing each other for so long and their kids growing up together, I kind of just fell right into the fold. They seen that my family was in need and that they had, some room to be able to take me, even though my adopted mom was already sickly. That didn't stop her from wanting to take me on or take me into her house. And I felt nothing but love the entire time, until she passed away. And so, again, that was my first touch with reality. She passed away. We lived in the suburbs. My life was very easy, cushy. I could go out, have fun, play. As long as the street lights were not on yet, I was good. As soon as those street lights came on, I needed to be in the house. So I'm just, as long as I beat the street lights home, it's fine. And my dad was an entrepreneur. He actually owned a shop, auto mechanic shop. And so, he would fix cars. So he did a lot of manual labor, until he was about 70 years old or so. He worked for himself. So I've always had that example of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And
Autonomy.
yes, autonomy. I seen that. I see my dad be able to come and go as he pleased. I see my dad be able to make ends meet and not have a boss to have to report to. Another thing that is really, really interesting is that where I live in Wilmington, Delaware, we have a riverfront. And my dad actually had his shop was down near what is called the riverfront. And now they're revitalizing that area. It was a dump back then, it was not somewhere we really like to hang out, but we spent a lot of time there. And I'm pretty sure my dad was pretty proud of what he built there. And it's crazy that, there are $1 million condos that are going up in that
That's
area
prime real
now.
estate.
And like you would have been priced out a long time ago.
Yep.
But it's crazy just to see the gentrification. The same thing with my grandmother's house, when she gave up her house. No, but she probably couldn't even pay one of us to take it, sadly. And I don't think any of us were really in a position to take it on. That's another thing I want to talk about too tonight is being in a position to be able to receive those blessings and keep things going. After our ancestors and the people that came before us have worked so hard to attain what they have and to pass it on to us. And so, we weren't really in a position, and I'm looking now in just rentals, man. I live maybe like 10 minutes from where I grew up. I live in a better part of the city, but I live about 10 minutes from where I grew up. I probably could walk there within 20 minutes. And the houses, like back when my grandmother got out of there, you could barely sell your house for like $20,000. You pay a 30-year mortgage, 40 years, 50 years if you refinance or anything like that, just to not even be able to sell your house for anything near what you thought it was going to be worth or what you paid for it. And then now here we go, fast forward 10, 15 years, and they are charging $1,800 for rent in that same area.
Yeah.
And it's really wild to see.
That is crazy. Happening all over the country. Same exact way.
It is.
That's a national thing.
It's a national thing.
That's a national thing. Funny enough, crazy enough, yesterday, I was just in Liberty City. We was talking to me and Monte when he came down. He got to meet the man. They call his name is Broadway. It's 18th Ave in Liberty City. Now the street's called Broadway after him now because he owns some property. I'm not gonna put it on that.
A lot.
He has a lot of influence because of what he's had. His family's been how he got it. Like how you're talking about, most people got this storyline of how they got some property in these areas, and now these areas, because of where they're located at, funny enough, are prominent areas for these cities to want to grow, prosper, etc., and expansion because of people coming in to the area who are not from the area, right? That's happening not only in the city level or the state level, but also, as we know, on a federal level with immigration. You know what I'm saying? So people are coming in, and it's rising the prices wherever we are at within the nation.
Yes.
Small Black communities, they would call it, no matter where they're located. Funny enough.
Yes. And my husband is in real estate. So he does real estate here in Delaware. Also, in the surrounding areas. And the thing is like, I don't know, you guys probably own properties and most people are not looking at the contracts when they're signing them, but these amortization schedules are crazy. Like you think that you're signing a loan that's going to be for $300,000 and you'll be done. But you're paying 3 times the amount by the time the loan is paid in full. Not to mention, again, if someone is like refinancing or doing anything of the sorts, pulling equity out of their homes, like God knows how much you're going to pay by the end of that. And we're just not versed well enough to not make those mistakes and run into those pitfalls that, put us in the hole and make it so that we can't sustainably, create the future that we want to be able to pass on to the next generation.
Real talk.
Yeah. And so to get back to the story of like my background. So my adopted mom passed away when I was 6. We lived in the burbs. And then my dad started to kind of like get a little sick, but he still was working. He was taking care of me and my little sister pretty much by himself. I also have a special needs brother. And this is another thing that, I'm going to really highlight throughout this too, is that special needs children become special needs adults. And a lot of times people are not taken into consideration, like, what if I'm not here to take care of my special needs child anymore? What you really have to think ahead and plan for them, because they can't plan for themselves. They're not planning for themselves now and taking care of themselves now. You can't get them to a point where they're fully autonomous and able to move on their own. Then you need to put in provisions to make sure that if and when they outlive you, they're still able to be taken care of. And so that's a very important concept too, that I think a lot of times we don't take into consideration. And the autism rate is going up. All types of things is going up because we're being poisoned left and right. And so, this is something that really is affecting us, and we need to really think about it moving forward, because we don't want our loved ones to run into issues. People are not going to love your loved ones the way that you do and take care of them the way that you do. And if you don't leave provisions for them, then only God knows what's going to happen to them, and you don't have any say after you pass away. So eventually, my dad decided that, I guess because he had these two little girls and he was having problems putting my hair in ponytails, all kinds of stuff, that he would get remarried. And that was not good for any of us. But he did get remarried. The woman he remarried was 42 years old. And so she didn't have his best interest at heart at all. By the time I was 9 or 10, we were being physically, mentally, emotionally abused. And not by my father, of course, but he was getting so, his health was declining. It wasn't much he can do. And let me just tell you, if someone will abuse a child, they will abuse an elder too.
Yeah, anybody.
Yeah, they'll abuse anybody. And so, we didn't really see it, or we didn't really know, but he was also being abused. And so, again, keep an eye on your loved ones and make sure that plans are in place so that things like this don't happen. You really have to keep everyone in a nice little tight knit community. Make sure you're checking on your people, checking on your folks. Make sure everyone has a plan. We don't know when we're going to go. I'm young, but I have a young family as well. And, I could not be here tomorrow. And that would devastate my family. If my husband were to go, that would devastate us. We're still in our building phase. But at the same time, there are ways that you can leverage and utilize tools that are available out there to help you in these moments and in these times, so that you're not derailed. You can build a strong financial foundation so that you're not derailed and you're able to continue on with the plans that you have. And so we were taken when I was about 11 or 12, and then my world was kind of, thrown into a tailspin, and I was forced to go and live out in Wilmington in the city. And so I was not
in the ghetto.
So yeah, in the ghetto. Right? They moved me to the ghetto, and I was like, oh, what is this? But
These niggas is crazy.
I wasn't totally like, I would go there on the weekends. So I would be on the weekends.
You knew what it looked like, but you hadn't stayed there.
Yeah, my mom grew up there. My aunts and my uncles grew up there. I knew all about it and how it felt to be there, but I could go home during the weekend. So it was different. But then when that was my reality 24/7, it was like, it was a shock. It was a huge culture shock. And I think that's why church really kind of saved me at that time, because they kept me in church. I stayed out of trouble. They kept me in church. They kept me doing stuff. But now I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 3. I'm an entrepreneur. I work from home, which gives me the ability to homeschool my smaller 2. My oldest son, he's been in school for the longest. He will actually be graduating in a few years. So I'm really excited about that. But my younger 2, we've decided to homeschool them, and I homeschooled them alongside my husband. Couldn't do it without him, my wonderful husband, Marquise. We really tag team. Thank you. We really tag team, and we go in on everything together. He's really my life partner. And we're becoming more autonomous by the day. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of planning. to find out the way that you should go about doing things and how to put those things in place. And so prior to being an entrepreneur, I actually have a background in customer service. I worked for various large corporations. I'm not going to name them because they don't need no more money.
Right.
But I was going nowhere fast. I was collecting my little coins and I thought I was doing okay, but I wasn't really thriving. I wasn't really moving forward. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to this, Now I'm a huge family advocate. I have a huge focus on family preservation and legacy building. I do this in several different ways. And the one that I really want to highlight tonight and talk about is the concept of proper protection. Again, that really impacted my life. And so that has been like my life's goal, my mission ever since. And it wasn't until the last 10 years or so where I kind of seen where this really fit into oh my God, this really could have prevented a lot of this and really changed the trajectory of not only my life, but really set me up to be able to change the trajectory of my kids' lives moving forward. I mean, I can still do that, but I felt like I was behind, I wasn't set up to be able to start at ground zero. I was kind of already in a hole. So just thinking about what a trust is, a lot of people think that trusts are just for rich people. It's not. I said we grew up in the burbs, but again, my dad was a mechanic. We did well, we did okay. But towards the end of life, when he could no longer work, what was there to be a safety net for him? He didn't have a pension from, him being employed for himself. He didn't have, everything was out of pocket. When you're a business owner, everything comes out of pocket. There's no one there that's going to be like, oh, you need a couple extra hours this week. Let me go ahead and give you some overtime. There's none of that. You have to make it happen on your own. And so, had my father knew about trust, he probably could have prepared a lot better. So a trust is not just for rich people. You have to think about these few key questions. And I think this pretty much encompasses everyone. So one thing, do you own a home? If you own a home, if you own any type of property, you need to think about a trust. Do you have children? I don't own a whole bunch of property or I don't have a bunch of assets, but my largest asset and my most important asset is my family, my husband, my kids. And so I need to think about what it means if I'm not here to take care of them. Who's going to make up for me not being here? Nobody could do that, just like no one can take the place of my husband either. However, we can put things and provisions in place to make it a little bit easier for that transition if something were to happen to either one of us.
And let me add, because when you say that, as I was doing my own studying, also a point that a lot of people leave out, it ain't even just about if something bad happens to you. Let's say you live to be 97, you live a full life, you still want to have a succession plan help your next generations.
Absolutely. It's not about just doing it for yourself. It's not about just doing it for yourself. You need to leave a blueprint, because I'll tell you what, I had a client that called, their father was on their deathbed. And it was such a beautiful thing to hear about all the properties that, his parents had acquired. They were going to be leaving about 20 properties or so to this family, a Black family, someone that looked like me. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I'd love to help you if I can. But they waited too late. Do you know that even if you just have one property, think about a property, right? In the United States, properties, average starter home now is like $350,000, $400,000. Most people's houses are $500,000 a year, $500,000. And if you don't properly protect things like your home, for instance, say you have a $500,000 home, if that has to pass through probate,
oh my goodness.
If that has to pass through probate, you can pretty much count on them taking about 10% of the amount of that asset. So that $500,000 home alone, 10% right off the top.
Yeah.
Before you even factor in anything else, right? They're going to look at your debts, who you owe. Does the mortgage need to be paid off? You know, who is this supposed to go to? These are all the things that a trust will help you to think about and plan for. It's going to give you an idea of what needs to be planned for, and then give your trustees a plan of action to be able to say, you know what, we don't need the court to come in and make decisions. We don't need the court to come in and take 10% and tell us what to do. There's already a plan in place. We just need to go ahead and implement it.
Yep.
And so what a trust does is it gives you control, which is the most important thing. You know, when you pass away, you're gone. That's it. But you can leave a legacy. You can leave a plan. You can leave whatever you'd like to the next generation, but they also need to know how to move forward to keep it. They need to know how to maintain it. You know, how do you leave someone a home? They don't know how to pay taxes. They don't know that taxes are involved. They don't know who to contact. They don't know how to cut the lawn. They don't know, you know, all of these little intricacies that come with having a property. Now multiply that by the 20 that father was trying to leave to that son and his siblings. You know, is that a blessing? Yes. Is it a burden? Probably.
Oh yeah.
You know, because they are not properly prepared. Some of them are, but most people are not properly preparing someone to take over a portfolio that has 20 properties in it.
Yeah.
You know, and then not only that, like, are they paid off properties? Do they still have mortgages? You know, mortgages till you die, you know, until you pay that off. You don't, you know, you own it, but it can be taken at any time. And then even when you pay it off, you still have to worry about the taxes because they can get you that way too. And so having a trust and estate plan can help you to plan for those things and put tools in your arsenal to be able to mitigate tax and things that will come up later on that you may not have thought about, or that you really just need to have on your radar and think about transfer taxes and things like that. Like how do you transfer it to the next generation? How much is that going to cost?
Right.
You know, is there any way to get around those costs?
Right.
And I'm here today to tell you guys that there are a lot of there are ways to get around a lot of those costs. And a trust can really help with that. Another thing that it really adds is a layer of protection, which is very, very important. It helps to prevent the money from being wasted. You know, you don't want to be taken advantage of. And that's the first thing that's going to happen if you have to go through probate. People can see your information, you know, as people, or as I won't call myself a genealogist. I'm sure you guys will call you guys genealogists. But I have started one,
but yes, we have some people.
We have some
started,
people.
you know, self-proclaimed genealogists in my family. I think it's very, very important to do the work and define your story. And one of the things is probate will give you so much information. If you do your genealogy and you go and you look at the paperwork, you will get the paper trail through probate court. And so you don't want your information. I mean, it's good when you're doing genealogy and trying to find the information, but it's not good when it's you and your
going through probate to get it.
There, right?
Yeah.
Your information is out there in the public domain, and anyone can come and say, you know, Monte owed me $3,000.
Yep.
You know?
Diana,
So,
let me ask you a question. Did you know that the judges, the probate, they get a cut?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people don't understand. They get a cut of what they are able to acquire. So what side of what position do you think they serve? Yeah. Who's feeding us?
Do you trust for them to put it in probate for them now, and they ideals of getting some off of your property assets that your ancestors fought hard for, had, or whatever, and leaving it to you? Like, everybody talks about the will, right? But see, the will, I like to use it in since you just said that, it's like when we talk about having the will, and as you said, after you leave, and they say in the Bible, what will be done on earth shall be done in heaven, or in earth, heaven as above, so below,
As
right?
it is in heaven. Yes.
Right. So if that correlation is what you want in your legacy to be passed down, how do you go about not doing it without having a trust? Because how you have a will but don't have the trust? Because the trust is what the will is supposed to come from. See what I'm saying? You're supposed to have the trust, and then you have the will, because now your legacy now, who has to follow the will, have a foundation from the trust of what they're supposed to follow. See what I'm saying? And
Yes.
like you said, it keeps you out of the probate. Why would you want some foreign person, court, whoever, involved in y'all business? You know what I'm saying? We lost too many stuff because of that.
Yeah, so a will is just, I mean, it's very simple. It's a document that you draft to let everyone know what you have, who you would like it to go to, what you would like to see happen after you pass away. But once you're gone, you're gone. You know, you can't enforce anything. And so it's up to the courts to decide at that point if they would like to take into consideration what it is that you wanted to happen.
That part.
Having a trust will make sure that those things are put into place and carried out. A will, again, is just, it spells out what you would like to happen, but it's still going to go through probate.
And they don't care about what you like.
Yeah. In probate, the court, the judge is going to be the one making.
They like money.
They are going to be the one to say, yeah, this house we don't know where this house was supposed to go. It's going to this person. You owe me this amount to get it. These children, no one accounting for these children. Foster care, you can go there, or, you know, is there anyone willing to take these kids? So that's why a trust is very important, because it gives you the documents and the tools to have in your arsenal, so that whoever is your trustee, whoever is going to carry out your wishes, will be able to go and have a blueprint to follow. And that's very, very important.
Right. You know, it's crazy because people are fighting right now around the world over a particular like covenant, and it might not be in a layer like how you're talking about it for our family trust today, in manner like, but we get this word will and certain things we just used in that language of the Bible, right? You know about, and see, our relationship to covenant understanding is the same relationship we're supposed to have to the trust. And if you have trust in God and you want your will, you know what I mean, to be done on earth, you will still want to structure it and trust that your family is going to follow those laws, bylaws that would allow them to get the land that's promised to them. You see what I'm saying? And you hear that even in the biblical scripture where they arguing about today, promised land, right? And then wink, wink. Who is the steward today of this so-called promised land? Who's supposed to have it? Who's the chosen people of it, right? That's all still within the language of trust. And we should look at that from a micro standpoint today, dealing with, like you said, our families. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. So, you know, we talk about, you know, you mentioned earlier, like the Rockefellers, we know them for their trust. We know, you know, these dynasty families, these legacy families that have been around for a long time. And the reason why is because they're able to pass down the blueprint, and they're able to pass down assets that will continue to sustain the family. And money equals power. You know, when you have those types of assets, you can make the calls. You can buy whatever you need to buy. You can buy the influence. You can buy yourself into positions of power to make decisions for the masses. And so this is the way that they're able to amass so much in terms of not only property but influence, particularly as well, because when they pass away, they don't leave their families burdened. They leave them with more assets.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so a couple of people
that just be heavy. I'm talking about.
So I'm in Delaware, and you know, the DuPonts are big around here.
Okay.
They poison the whole world, so I'm sure you guys know. DuPonts are. But they literally are like right in my backyard where they started. So, but some of the notable people that I know you guys would be familiar with is like Prince. You know, there was no will found when he passed away. There were years of court battles, and, you know, I don't know how much you guys know about Prince, but he basically parted ways with his family when he was really young and didn't look back. And so after years of probate and them not finding anything to be able to go by, his family was actually ended up getting access to his estate, people he never even talked to, for the majority of his adult life. They were able to take over his likeness and get, money based on the fact that they were the only people, that were close to him. And the judge made those decisions. I don't think Prince would have made those same decisions. Aretha Franklin, she's another one. Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. Unfortunately, I believe he died of, I think it was colon cancer. But he left his pregnant wife behind. So, and she had to go through probate. So whatever assets he did have, those are frozen in the meantime. Those are things that, you might be able to live in the house, but who pays for it?
Right.
In the meantime, if it's not paid off, can you make it through all of those years, months, however long it takes for probate to be able to, hold on to the asset and then be able to get it transferred, so you have proper ownership of it, but then also be able to sustain it. So again, you don't want to lose 10% of what someone is giving you just trying to keep it. So that's another big one. Nipsey Hussle, a lot of people know Nipsey Hussle.
Mm-hmm.
His estate went through probate. Family court proceedings show that guardianship was determined by the judge in that case. And that's big. Jimi Hendrix, his estate was tied up for decades, like not just years, decades. And then it was his family that was actually fighting, his dad and his siblings, over the control of his estate after he passed away. And so it's very, very important. It doesn't matter if you have a whole bunch of assets or not. There are things that need to be protected. And we just, assume because, they have all of this money, they have all of this assets. It comes down to having the information and then acting on the information. We don't know how long we have. And so they probably just figured, I have the money, I can do it whenever I want, but they don't know how long they have to carry out those things and get everything properly in order either.
Yep.
So why is this topic becoming more relevant? It's becoming more relevant because our community is in crisis after crisis. We put out one fire and then there's another one. So I asked ChatGPT, what are the type 3 crises in the African American or Black community? And number one, they said the wealth gap and economic inequality, right? So we have lower home ownership rates. Like I said, in my area, rent is going for about $2,000 a month. If you want to be able to save up for a down payment and still pay your rent, it's pretty tough. If you do acquire an asset and you're able to get a home, you're looking at mortgages $2,500, $2,800 a month. Like the cost of living is really unsustainable for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still in our wealth. It's siphoning off our wealth, month by month, bill after bill. And then we have lower rates of business ownership as well. So we are not creating opportunities for ourselves, for our children. We are not passing on a pathway to autonomy. And, worst of all, we're not creating jobs in our communities. And so, like you said, we have all of this immigration, which is fine. We are a nation of immigrants. I'm happy to have immigrants around me. Some of my mentors are immigrants. They're amazing people. They're teaching me this knowledge without making me pay for it. It's not behind a paywall. So I'm not saying that it's a problem that we have immigration, but the thing is like every time someone comes here, that's another person that we have to compete with for resources. And so if we don't have things in place to make sure that even if we get knocked out of those positions, like what do we have to be able to sustain our communities? Because they come and they build in our communities. Yep. And they build their own communities, which they should, of course, but they come here with an understanding that they need to learn our system. And a lot of times as Americans, we're here and we think we know the system. We know what the system is, I guess, supposed to be, or, what we think the system is
we don't
not
really
the
know.
way that the game is actually played, right?
Yeah.
And so we're always 2 steps behind. We're always, fumbling over ourselves, trying to make things happen, trying to play catch up. And that's just not the way to be able to transfer wealth to the next generation. We have limited intergenerational wealth transfers. And that's, again, because we don't have these things in place that will allow us to put a system in place to create some type of compound interest that will be able to sustain things like trust, to be able to not only allow us to live out, a dignified retirement and into being able to pass on something to the next generation, but also, just making sure that our kids know how to take those same steps and how to move that forward for their children as well. The second largest crisis that we have, according to chat, is criminal justice disparities. Like I said, my mom was battling drug addiction. With that comes a lot of incarceration. And so when I was young, my mom was in and out of jail, and I didn't see her very much. And so we have higher rates of arrest and sentencing. That also means that a lot of times those people cannot hold jobs, not, and if they can, they're usually not well-paying jobs. There's disparities in policing and incarceration, also long-term consequences for the fact that they have reduced unemployment or reduced employment. They go back to creating your own success and income legally. They're usually very entrepreneur minded, but they don't do it legally, and so they get into problems, and again, that cycle just continues.
Yep.
And then the next thing, or the third thing, is health disparities. We have a significant gap in healthcare outcomes and access to affordable healthcare. And so higher rates of chronic conditions is something that really plagues us. And a lot of times we don't understand how to leverage tools such as life insurance to be able to use living benefits to be able to sustain ourselves when we can no longer go out and work, or we become incapacitated, or, the mortgage just has to get paid and you no longer can go out and make a living. So you need to think about tools and really fund the trust or fund your lifestyle so that you can sustain it for the rest of your life, whether you can work or whether you don't have that ability to. Our health affects our quality of life, economic stability, and our longevity. So if you don't take care of your health, that's going to culminate to maybe not being able to pay your rent or pay your mortgage, take your kids, keep a car, be able to pay for your kids to have a good education. All of those things can be derailed if we don't put the right plans in place. The poor health affects income and family stability. So my dad being older, my mom passing away when I was 6, those things really shook up my family, my household, my situation. My father, again, he thought that he was doing the best thing and decided to bring another woman into the house. By the end of it, she left him, and we still had to take care of him. And we ended up coming back to the house to make sure that he was good in his older years. He ended up on dialysis and really needed a lot of help, and she was not there for him through that. But there was no trust in place. She was able to change over the deed and things like that. So our inheritance was stolen from us. And there, we didn't know how to fight that at the time. I was 17. There was no way I was going to be able to fight it. And then my older siblings, it just didn't happen, and so that was stolen right from under us. And unfortunately, all those years, all that hard work just kind of went down the drain because that home ended up getting taken by her, but also foreclosed on later on. And so, that's just something that's no longer in our family.
And that's a lot of people's story.
Yeah, unfortunately.
One way or another, you know what I mean? Oh, damn, I think she must have hit the button and knocked herself out.
Oh man, damn.
That's exactly what happened.
I wanted to hear the stories, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, yeah. She gonna realize and come back on. Let me tell you something here.
Hey, but either way, as people need to let you listen to her, how she's breaking.
Oh, there she is. There she is.
There it is. Okay. Trust. That's why I trust. And when she's presenting.
You hit the button?
You mute. You muted.
Oh, you on mute. You on mute. Actually, hold on. I think she is.
You mute.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see.
We can't hear you.
Try to lead and come back in. Yes, you're gonna know. That what you were saying, Matt?
Yeah, what she was saying though, as far as like why it's so important, you know what I mean? That it's just like when Sad was on, and he said the same thing. And I know what happened with his mom because I know him personally, and I know, like, you know, if we would have had certain things in place and certain policies and certain things, a lot of our families would go through these transitions and hard times in a better situation than what we see happening. So that's why it's important, as people talk about so much of the past, of ancient history, that this right here we got to get right in the current time. You see what I'm saying? And because who can you trust? You heard me? Well, you can trust yourself, right? And your loved ones you created a family with, and you should obviously want the children to benefit from it. Benefactor. You know what I mean? Who's gonna settle that situation? Who do you trust to settle that you make sure your children benefit from that situation? You know what I mean? All this other stuff some people doing ain't leading to resolving the problems that we have solution-wise. And this is a constant problem we're seeing, and we're seeing people lose the properties, and then they lose the properties, or however the case goes down in these cases, but they don't go down to the loved ones. And then a foreigner buys it in your area, and it turns around and rents it back to your people.
And they run up the price.
So at a higher note. You see what I'm saying? And you're not the ones benefiting from it. So that's why, who can you trust? I would say you autonomously. Shout out, y'all. Hope y'all trust us with this information, but at the same time, trust yourself. You heard me? Before anything else. Autonomously speaking, trust your collective to want to give you the right information, but you're supposed to cross-check and apply it for yourself in a manner of your everyday lifestyle and what you got going on. You heard me? Because that's the autonomous thing to do. You know what I mean? The autonomous way. Live life autonomously. And this is one of the most autonomous things that you have the power to do. See what I'm saying? And if anything else, you have this kind of power. No one can stop you from doing this. So tap in.
And then bro say Diana's intellect is in line with what you played earlier with Dr. Claude. So that is the whole purpose. That's the whole holistic education. You can't just OD on only knowing historical facts or only knowing your genealogy. You got to know how to put all these things together to be able to actually create some type of an estate for your family. So imagine this. Tell me what you think about this, man. Imagine you having a trust, right? Imagine right now, okay, imagine you was doing your genealogy and you discovered an ancestor, one of your grandmothers or grandfathers who whole time they had a trust. And in that trust contained all the land patents that they was tied to, any businesses that they was tied to, any of the family Bibles, the genealogy links. Imagine being able to be gifted something like that give you all the answers. But that puts you so far ahead, Mac. What you think about that?
I mean, that's what our people be talking about now. What's lost? You know what I'm talking about? Because if we understood what we're talking about tonight back then we wouldn't be. A lot of these people wouldn't be searching as hard because it'd already be in their hands. And they, you know what I mean? You would have it in your household, and you'd be passing it down to your children. Your children be passing it down for generations to come, and the wealth would pass down with it. You see what I'm saying? Not just the knowledge of who you are, but the assets of what your family built. You know what I mean? We have this whole thing about we get it out the mud, like how we built this channel right here, this podcast, this network. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to this right here, nah, bro, you don't want to get it out the mud if you ain't got to. Especially if your family can give it to you, and you can take it and expand it. What we talking about here? So you know what I mean? And if you get it out the mud, and now you're making away from somebody of your generation, children's generations, etc., to benefit from what you got out the mud. So right now, if you're getting it out the mud now, it's important that you trust that clay that you built. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hold on, we got Diana right here.
And make sure that pot hold all that wealth that you put it in too out the mud. You heard me? So that part, I'm gonna keep it realer than fishing rods. You know what I'm saying?
Got to.
I'm gonna keep it realer than fishing rods. You know what I'm talking about? That's right.
So my audio went out. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Great now. Great now.
Right. All right, awesome.
Hey,
All
it
right,
happens.
so I don't know if I can share my screen, and I'll run through this really quickly.
Yeah, I got it. I got it
Okay,
showing.
how do I do?
Yeah, hit that.
There you
Yep.
go.
Okay, there we go. All right, you guys can see my full screen now, right?
Hold on. It went to, I think it took it. Do you got multiple screens going?
There we go. You got
So we can see it now. Whatever you just did, now we can see it.
You can see it. You can
Yeah.
only see my presentation though.
Yeah, it's still the non-presentation mode. So I think it may have
Yeah,
went to another screen.
It won't let me do. Okay, I'm trying presenter mode, but let me know.
Okay,
if
it's looking good so far. Hit that. Yeah, see if it'll let you hit the X out of that though. That audience
that
window
X.
portion. Do you see that? Yeah. Damn. Oh, that's what it is then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think that. Can you guys see it?
It's not. It's good though.
All right. All right. So, like Monte let you guys know, I've partnered with Trustee Friend, and I've been working with them for the last few years with the co-founder, who is Ray Ramirez. He's been amazing and instrumental in helping me to learn estate planning and how this really could have benefited my family in so many different ways. And I really wish Ray was available when I was growing up to be able to talk to my parents. But thank God he's available to really instill in us how we can pass on our wealth to the next generation. All right, let's see how okay, I'm gonna have to do it this way. So out of 267 million adults in the United States, 75% have no estate plan in place at all. 70% of people pass away without ever having an estate plan. And the biggest statistic that I want to point out to you guys is this one right here. Children are at a potential risk for foster placement and financial instability, just like I was. 74.1 million children are left without a plan, when their parents pass away. Probate court costs, fees, and lack of privacy will most times end in a family conflict. And that's something that, again, we don't need any additional family conflicts. We have $1.6 trillion in assets that are locked up in probate, and that's set to increase to $3.5 trillion very soon. A will versus a trust. Monte kind of touched on this earlier. Will, again, is just a legal document that says what you would like to happen, but it's not going to stop you from going through probate. A trust is the legal entity that allows you to place your assets under management and allows you to be able to keep your assets out of probate. You pass away, that entity it basically takes the place of you. That entity never dies. And so you're able to continue on whatever trajectory you were on, whatever trajectory you had your kids on. Say they are supposed to continue on and go to college, whatever you would like to happen next, that's what a trust will do. It will be able to speak for you when you are no longer here to speak for yourself. You're going to designate a beneficiary, which is the person who benefits from the trust. And then you're going to designate someone who is going to be able to follow your wishes and make sure that that happens and be the advocate for your beneficiary. Make sure that they tick off all the boxes. Say you want them to go to college or you want them to start a business before they're able to access any money in this trust. You're able to do that whether you're here or you're not. A trust is just an entity that is able to speak for you when you can no longer speak, right? So again, this goes back to being incapacitated, being no longer here on this earth. What goes into a trust? A trust is really just basically a container for all of your assets and anything that is important to you that you need to make a plan for. This includes real estate, retirement accounts, financial assets, investments, business interests. You have to plan for your business too, because think about the succession of your business. I know quite a few people who have businesses and they're unable to pass it to the next generation because the generation doesn't know how to maintain and continue those businesses moving forward. Life insurance goes into a trust. Personal property goes into a trust. And most importantly, again, your kids, they need to be accounted for and go into this trust as well. I have a very short video. Can you guys see this? It says my father passed away.
Your screen knocked off, but I got that video on mine, so I can play it for you so everybody can see it big.
Can you
I
play
was
that for
wondering,
me?
were you trying to show the screen the whole time?
Yeah, it was showing. Now it was showing in the beginning, but I think you hit something or something happened and it took it off. But it's all good because I know how when you knew the StreamYard, boy, this shit could be a whole
Yeah,
minefield.
I'm not.
Listen, I
But
I'm
appreciate
not
you
tech savvy. Usually, I
doing
would
like
have
you
my
said. I
husband
got
do
you.
it
no,
for
you
me.
doing good. You doing good. Trust me, it's a lot of pressure. You doing fine. I got you.
Doing
Don't
it
even
for
worry.
Thank you.
real.
I
Yeah.
I told us
appreciate it.
you don't like to be in the.
And it's
I
a
get it.
very, very
Yeah.
short video, but I think it's very impactful for
No, I got
understanding
it.
like how you can set up a trust, and what the importance of it would be.
All right, I'm about to play it now.
So our father passed away, and now my siblings is fighting over the insurance policy and things of that nature. Right? So let me break it down to you. One, my father has 5 kids. I am the youngest of 5, and I had no clue he had me down as his beneficiary. Right? Because it's my first time dealing with something like this. So, in his will, he made sure that I was in charge of the trust, so I can't just give money out, right? Even for myself. So with this being said, my siblings is fighting over them being able to spend the money in the trust on their personal, things they have going on. But it clearly states anybody unmarried or unwed cannot get no money. It clearly states if you are unmarried, no husband, no wife, the money goes to the kids. The kids have to be jail-free, drug-free, college, or entrepreneur to get only $10,000 to start their business. He gives them in the insurance policy in the trust. You only get $50,000 for. For me, you know when he left me? Nothing. And I'm not mad at it. Because I'm not married and because I had kids out of wedlock, I don't get no money. All of the money that was going towards me go towards my kids. I have no issue with it. Me and my father discussed this when he was alive. He broke it down to me. He's trying to break generational curse and habits. So even though me and him was the closest, he told me straight up, I have to make an example with you, because if I start off with you, nobody else can complain. So when he passed away, nobody got a red cent. Nothing. Me included. Now, I have my own insurance policy on him. I suggested to everybody else they did that, to do that, and they didn't do it. Now, when he passed away, I ended up with a $2 million policy payout. They feel I should pay them. I'm not. When I told everybody 15 years ago it's only going to cost $200 to $500 a month to get $1 million policy on the pops, they didn't listen to me. Now that I've done it and it paid off, I'm not sharing with you Negroes. They wouldn't share it with me. So am I wrong for that?
Yeah, no.
Commenting below and be honest.
Hero.
I'm gonna be very honest. Nah, you never wrong, man. And that's the whole thing. So I just want to say this on your behalf. So this is Monte talking. This is not on behalf. This is not legal or financial advice. This is just some shit you should look into. So we had Sebastian, right, Matt? Yeah. So he talked about the whole life with the mutual benefits, correct? So if you don't have any property, if you don't have any businesses, but you want to insure your interests for your kids, if you just do that one simple thing and put it into a trust, that can change that can change the generations after you. And then you have them do the exact same thing. So you don't have to have all of this stuff. You just have to be willing to be able to do it. And then start small if that's where it is. But don't let that hinder you. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of want to, Diane, I just want to let them understand why we even chose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to do this. Go ahead, Matt.
I just, because between this show and you got how it's more personal, I think, with you and your storyline and how you got into it. You know, Sab, he's been on our show many times. So he's kind of just trying to get to, you know what I mean? He still wants you to feel it, but I feel like people can really relate to how you're saying it and why it's important from that family dynamic to have a trust, you know what I mean? And how he just pointed out the insurance policy, which connects to what Sebastian, the approved guy, was talking about, dealing with having importance, not only to understand the trust, but also to understand the importance of the insurance policy and how
funding the trust.
Example laid out, because that's another way that we pass down generational wealth. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because he's a millionaire now, all because he decided to make an investment that might have, cost him a couple thousand. You know what I mean? Oh, 10. You say he spent over 3-4 years before his pops passed away, and he put that policy on him. Or his dad, told him, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put a policy on you, Pop." Like you said, $200 a year. Month. That's between $24 to $5,000 a year if you can afford to, investment wise, to know that when something happens to your loved one, that money is going to transfer to you in $1 million kickback, which is going to change you and your children's life. And still,
yes, he leveraged a little bit to get a lot on the back end.
Right. A great ROI is what they would say in business.
Absolutely. Not only that, talking about
Crazy
life
work.
insurance, I am life and health licensed. But one thing to think about too, another reason why you would want to have a trust in this case is because if you do have life insurance and you place your life insurance inside the trust, then your children can be properly taken care of. Otherwise, if you don't set it up correctly, just naming them as beneficiaries, kids can't inherit, large sums of money. They can't access things like that. Without having, some, plans
steward
in place.
above them.
They have to have a steward. Absolutely. They have to have a steward. And if you have not put one in place, then it's going to be hard for them until they turn of age to be able to get those assets.
We see that now.
Yes. So I want to transition.
Just said it right there.
I want to transition into a little bit about what we talked about, which is the partnership. Thank you guys again so much for allowing me to come and just tell you a little bit about what we're about and my partnership with Trustee Friends. And thank you so much for thinking, so highly of us to be to want to partner with us as well. How do I want to share my screen again?
Okay,
hopefully I don't mess it up.
No, it's all good. It's all good. No pressure. So you hit the share button. It'll pop up for me to accept it, but I haven't seen nothing yet.
All right, you see it?
Yep, I do. Hold on. Got you.
Okay, so this is our partnership link right here. And these guys have been so amazing that they actually took the time to be able to get you guys access to a team of over 80 different attorneys that are willing to give you guys free consultations. So we'll go through what it means to have a trust, what it looks like, how we should set up a trust so that it works for your situation particularly. It's not very many places where you can go and get a free consultation. Talking to a attorney usually costs you about $350, $400, $500 sometimes just to have a 30-minute consultation. And so this is very, very valuable. And again, just pour into the party and make sure that you're sharing things like this link so that other people are properly protected. But it kind of just brings back the fact that you learn this information here with the autonomous party. It's just like a little nod and a little thank you to be able to keep certain things within the network. One of the things I was talking to my husband about the other day is, some of our favorite restaurants in the area have closed down, unfortunately. And the thing is, we can no longer enjoy those places, but we cut back a lot on going out and eating and things. So we're not patronizing them. And then they're ultimately shutting down. If people are not making enough, feeling like they have enough of benefit and they still have overhead and things like that, then, we need that type of support. The least we can, it doesn't cost us anything to share this information. And it doesn't cost you guys anything to get the information, which is, again, way more valuable than I think a lot of people will realize. So please take advantage of this, screenshot this here, and go ahead and go to the QR code, which will take you to a link so that you guys can get a free consultation, have a conversation with a paralegal or a licensed attorney, and see how a trust can really benefit your family and save you potentially hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars later on. This is my contact information. I do help with estate planning, financial literacy, debt management, retirement planning, health and life insurance. If you guys have any questions, it doesn't cost you anything to contact me. I'm new to the whole YouTube thing. I am starting to put content out. Again, just highlighting this information in particular. So if you guys would like, please subscribe so that you guys can get more information. And I'm going to be doing like short breakdowns of different tools that you can utilize and put in your arsenal and add to your trust so that you guys are able to, move the needle forward and really just have your assets be allocated the way that you intended them to be. We also have free daily workshops, so many things that you guys can tap into. And these guys have been so amazing that they're going to allow me to come and have conversations with you guys. We also have a really nice discount available for the members who are really, really serious about the party. And so I want you guys to go ahead and just let them know what is available so that they're able to really take advantage of what we have available for them and the discounts that we have on the back end for people who are really serious into getting their affairs in order. And again, thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
No, it's all good. I appreciate you for one, just spreading the support, most importantly, before anything else. And then for two, offering your services. So Mac, had this whole thing, calling it Aboriginal Wall Street, the whole thing of us just moving past consciousness and also getting into business, getting into politics, getting active. You feel me? So what you are providing, we need to all support each other. So when you came with this and we delegated within the party, it just made sense because we talk about trust all the time. We talk about systems. It's just smart for y'all to do it. And obviously, this ain't fairy tale world. This is business. So everything ain't free. But the fact that you get a free consultation, so that way you can apply your own questions, use your own discernment, and see if this is for you. You can't really beat that part. But obviously, in order to get services done, things cost. But what we're trying to do is, no matter what, if you are affiliated and you are a supporter of the Autonomous Party, you get the free consultation with them no matter what. That's the tenet that Trustee Friend already provides. But what we're going to do is, if you become a Patreon member, we're going to roll this out a little later, the official details. But basically, you'll get a very nice discount by being a Patreon member when you go to get your trust done, as well as a lot of other new benefits that we are about to roll out. I told y'all we going crazy, bro. Mac, everything we about to do is revamped. We got a whole new energy, Mac. So, Mac, Diana, first off, appreciate you for coming and doing this presentation. You did good.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you did a great job. Mac, what you got?
Oh, shoot. Maranatha, man. See, our time has come. Our living out righteous decisions has come. See, that's my acronym for Lord. You hear me? Living out righteous decisions. See, because being autonomous is about living in the now. To walk in the autonomous way is to walk in the way. You see what I'm saying? And we have to be conscious of that and trust in ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we have to have that core foundation. So that's why this Aboriginal Wall Street is dealing with these type of things, because it's tied to the legacy of our situation. You know what I'm saying? And preserving it. And it does cost to preserve it, bills and everything, but estate planning to have an estate costs. So again, we just want the message to get across. And people like you who are tapped into us and do the things you do to within our network to be able to provide service, and then us be able to work with you to get the service to them at a rate that's for them within the economy we have today. So in a trusted way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a friendship needs to be aligned that you do and learn these things from, because some people will take advantage of you or might not give you the best information that is best for your family dealing with your trust situation. So to each his own, autonomously, and you're walking the way. So again, I think everybody that taps in every Sunday, just like shout out to Diana tonight, you know what I'm saying, that joined us and is giving out this information. Again, Aboriginal Wall Street will be opened up soon. And basically all the information and things that we have tied to it. Shout out to, again, Sebastian with the approved guy, because he got the insurance things too. So we got different people that we're going to give you access to.
Whole network.
So it's a network, but definitely Trustee Friends is a part of that network tonight that we're seeing, giving us this right here to give to y'all. So thank everybody that tapped in this Sunday with us, and we'll see y'all next week. Elite Cummings supposed to be pulling up next week, y'all. So y'all be ready to get ready. It's gonna
get ready.
Get your seat ready because popcorn and everything. You know what I'm saying? Diana, thank you again. Appreciate you.
Of course. Have a great one, guys.
All right,
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, a special shout out to George Myers and Dakar in Love 21. Hope I ain't messing up, but appreciate the super chats, man. That's major love. But shout out to Diana. Shout out to our new partner, Trustee Friend. We got a lot coming y'all way. So we appreciate the support. We gone, Diana.
Listen close. Listen close. Grandma said, don't forget your name. Paper tells stories people don't explain. They move lines, they rewrote claims, left us working and changed the game.
I had to learn what wasn't shown, who owned the ground before it was loaned. Truth don't shout, it's speaking codes. If you read it slow, it brings you home.
They taught us how to make a way, never taught us how to save the pay.
I ain't chasing what don't last, I'm building forward from the past. Oh, L-E-G-A-C-Y.
We need land and titles, you'll see why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
What we know today decide tomorrow's side.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
More than money, it's the why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
What we leave when we goodbye. They said dream, never said own.
Never said this deed was once your home. Never said sign and mean control. Just told us shine and lose the road.
So I look back to move ahead. Found value in what elders said. If they erased it, it was bread. If they hid it, it was fed on. Yeah. Read it slow. I ain't rich yet,
But I'm aware
every move got
purpose there. Yeah,
trust land and family plans.
that's how freedom touched the hand.
This ain't anger,
This is sight
turning knowledge
into right.
what we fix in our lifetime. Make it easier for the next to climb.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
We need land and titles, you see why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
What we know today decide tomorrow's side.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
More than money, it's the why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
What we leave when we goodbye. They can't tax what you pass down. If you move it before
They found
wisdom turn to solid ground. When the knowledge stick around. Yeah, so I teach it, not just sing. Cause information change everything. If my name survive the flame, then my kids gon' do the same. That's what we leave. Yeah. Mm-hmm.